What follows is strictly for adults. Put your children out of harm's way. You see, the following 5 gentlemen are clearly not PG. In fact, an R rating would stand for rude. Let's meet them now.
He's originally from the land of Lincoln, Illinois. Then he moved to Georgia, and then he moved to Florida. How much farther south can this man go? Cuba? There's no doubt this man is lucky Ronald Reagan is not alive because he would be calling him a communist. But don't worry, he's no Castro comrade. He's the president of the Bears Country podcast, the lead host of their signature show. Now he's one of us. One of us! One of us! Aldo calls him the OD. Let's not call him a cocksucker. The other Dan. We don't know anything about him. I mean, we don't know shit about him. We don't know his real name. Is it Thaddeus? Is it Reginald? Is it Frank? I don't know. What's his address? Any of his friends? Does he even have any friends? Hey, we do know this. He's someone you better not fuck around with. He knows the Bears and the game of football. He's funny as fuck. He likes to fuck. And just like me, again, this is redundant, but he likes pussy. Nomad. This man was an extra on Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers back in 1994. It is believed he has more body hair than any other mammal on the fucking planet. And some suspect he starred in gay porn back in the 1980s. But there's nothing wrong with that. Now he delivers the Bears' state of affairs. He handicaps games better than anyone except maybe Mike North, but they're both good. He loves the efficiency of bourbon. It's Tooch. It's Mr. John Santucci. You know this gentleman as the Podfather. He created the Barroom Network in 2014. But 2023 figures to be a big year in this man's life. Medicare, Social Security, and erectile dysfunction all at one time. Hey, quit calling him white. He's tired of that shit. He's Puerto Rican. He's Aldo Gandia. I've been saying for 3 years on the Barroom Network that I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating. But now I don't really know if that's true. Alright, I'm just fucking with you. Of course it's true, but it's been a bad season. I mean, except for Justin Fields running all over the place, right? I recently got dumped by a girl on Facebook. My ex-wife's getting remarried. But don't worry about me, I'm still getting lots of pussy. I'm Dan Aguirre.
These 5 are here to talk about the Chicago Bears and bare their souls.
Whoa! Welcome to Bare Their Souls. I am your host tonight, the other Dan, Mr. Shorty. We are down in Aldo, so I'm taking over the hosting duties. We're going to have a great show tonight. We are here with, of course, Dan Aguirre and Mr. Nomad, and we will be joined later on in the show with Tooch and his Bears State of Affairs. Guys, it's been a long, crazy... Actually, not a long. It seems like it was just yesterday, Friday, that they made this trade. And then here we are in free agency. And the players that they've signed, a lot of people are pretty high on these players. Of course, you're seeing some shit being talked in Twitter about them. But, I think that's the just you're going to get that overall with the fan base. But I'm curious to know what you guys personally think. We'll start with you, Dan. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Actually, I'm not doing well now.
Nomad, how you doing?
Good, man. I'm good. I just want to know if everybody's
what do you guys think about this free agency? Yeah. Well, we all talked on Friday when the trade happened. So, how do you guys feel about the free agency period that just happened? I mean, it's not official yet. Something could happen, i.e. Ogunjobi last year, but until Wednesday, tomorrow, this is pretty much what we're going to be with most likely. So, what do you guys think about the players that they are going to be signing? Dan,
I'm happy about getting Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. Seemingly, you get 2 stud linebackers at a cheaper rate than what you would have had to have paid Roquan. So I think in the end, the Bears really came out ahead in that aspect. I like that they signed a lineman in Nate Davis. I don't know anything about this defensive end. I'll throw that to Nomad in a second. I'm sure he could tell us about this guy. He watches the whole league versus me, pretty much focusing on the Bears. But the one thing I'm still worried about, I think they need to still need more offensive line help to protect Justin. That could be in free agency still. Maybe Orlando Brown is still out there, or maybe it's in the draft. But I still need the line worked, but so far, so good on the acquisitions.
I agree. Nomad?
You know what? I hope everybody's coming down from their sugar high, because everything's quiet right now. Everybody had their bellies full because he hit some. He came right out firing, man. He smacked home runs right out of the gate. And the detailed study on these guys, I know everybody knows most of these guys up here, but it's a certain particular guy, defensive end, DeMarcus Walker. I have a little bit of detail, a little bit more than probably your average person, but that's because I'm a Florida State fan, not because other people haven't gone and studied him. But I've been looking at him for a long time. And to speak to the quiet right now, you know, I'm prone to think, and I wonder if anybody else has this thought. The quiet is about either they have deals on the table for guys and they're waiting for them to come down to their price range. It could be this. It could also be that there's a trade on the table for somebody and they're waiting for that trade to come through. When I say that, I mean maybe a 3-tech that's out there on some other team, maybe a Buckner, I don't know. But there may be a deal in place and they're waiting for things to fall in line with what they want. I think that's the quiet right now. It's probably a big money deal in which it needs to play out before they can start signing other guys. That's what I think the quiet is about.
This Walker guy, is he a starter? I don't know much about him, or is he just going to be a rotational guy?
Oh, what's interesting about him, I'm a Florida State fan again. Been watching him since he was in college. He is what they call a tweener. He's in between a defensive end and a defensive tackle. And so I would say when he was at Florida State, he played at about 260, 265 tops. And he's a really powerful guy below the waist. And if you saw him in college, you could see that right away. He's really powerful. And when he came into the league, he bounced into a couple of places. I think Tennessee was the last stop, but I think he was at Denver before that. And I think, like, if you looked at his body at Tennessee recently, he's a full defensive tackle. But if you looked at his body in Denver, he had more of a defensive end type of body, more sleek type of body. But I think he's found his lane, and I think it's defensive tackle. And I did see that Greg Gabriel thought that he had a 3-tech frame to him, and I agree with that. And I think he's found a home there, and now he's starting to ascend as a player. You know, because when teams are just bouncing you around from position to position, you don't really find your groove. And then Tennessee decided to get him up a couple, probably 20 pounds, and it changed his game. And so he had a lot of production. And if you guys haven't seen Swifty's take on it, it's one of his best context work videos that I've ever seen on a new player that we've brought in. I think you ought to go out and check that out, because he put in detail how much production versus say a Draymond Jones and the amount of time that he played. And let's just say Draymond Jones played a whole lot more ball than DeMarcus Walker and had way more production. So
is it safe to say that Walker, and I don't mean this sarcastically at all, is it safe to say if he'd have been on the 2022 Bears, he would have been our best defensive lineman?
It's a good chance,
because we really struggled last season.
I mean, the stats provide affirmative with that question. Yeah, you would say yes.
So this is a good acquisition.
Yes, he's ascending, man. He's
Good.
finding his lane, and we're getting him at the perfect time.
I'm glad that you called him. Basically, you think he's going to play the defensive tackle position. You mean the 3-tech, right?
Right.
Because I made a short for the bar room, and I called him a defensive tackle, and I took some heat for that because people were calling him a defensive end, and I thought, well, to me, he was a defensive tackle, But I'm glad you're backing me up on that. At least I feel a little bit better about that mistake I made.
No question, his Tennessee body. If that's what Eberflus plans to do with him, based on what I saw in Tennessee, if that's the plan to keep him at that size and weight, he's a 3-tech.
That's what I was thinking too. So, what do you think about the other signings here? The TJ Edwards.
Well, I think
What are your thoughts on that?
Let's get Dan on it.
You got 3 years, $19.5 million, $12 million guaranteed. He had 159 tackles last year combined, 2 sacks, fumble recovery, and he was just on a team that went to the Super Bowl. So you can't buy that experience. Well, I guess you can. That's why you sign free agency. But the point is, the guy's got some. He could be a leader, is what I'm trying to say. And then you got Edmonds, who's done nothing but win in Buffalo, and is still very young, like 25 years old. But when the season begins, 4 years, $72 million. I think they're both tremendous signings. They both are, like I said, I wasn't the biggest Roquan fan. A lot of people love Roquan and Mac. But to me, if these two guys are healthy, I'd rather have them versus aging Khalil Mack. And sometimes I go hard, sometimes I don't, Roquan Smith.
I love what you said about 2 for the price of 1 there.
Yeah, because Roquan is, his cap hit alone is going to be more than theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Soulz
what, man?
is winning us all over, isn't he?
This man, Dan, the looking at it in hindsight, it's a beautiful chess move to play. Let a linebacker go who's a really good linebacker, but for a price that you felt like in the incoming free agency you would be able to get 2 players for it, 2 really dynamic. And looking at all the linebackers that came into free agency, there's no question in my mind they got the best 2 linebackers out there. No question at all. Matter of as in fact, I do think Tremaine Edmonds is the best will linebacker. I mean, you could probably throw or Mike linebacker, they're interchangeable. You can throw 54 from the San Francisco 49ers out there and say he's comparable. Yes. But they got a stud, and not to be overlooked is TJ Edwards. Now, that guy right there is something else, man. You talk about instincts and just knowledge and understanding of what's in front of him and the speed to be able to react to it. Man, his tape is so freaking fun to watch. It's like he knows what's going on before it even happens. Don't run a screenplay in front of him. Forget that shit. He's snuffing all that out. I'm telling you, you guys are going to be so fucking happy about the linebacker duo that we have out there, including Jack Sanborn to throw in. Man, I'm telling you, those guys are going to be swarming, and it's going to be so fucking fun to watch.
Man, you went on a roll, and I lost my train of thought. I was about to say something, but I was like, yeah, you're right.
Once they learn to play with each other, once they learn to really feed off of each other, God, mm-hmm. Telling you, it's going to be probably the best looking linebacker trio that's out there.
Tremaine Edmonds turns 25 on May 2nd. I mean, he's 24 years old with that experience coming into this team. He's a lanky guy. He's great in space. Things that I've noticed about him. And there was somebody from the Bills on the other night with Aldo and Danny Shimon talking about him, and they had asked him about sacks, and he really hasn't had that many sacks, but he really hasn't been given the opportunity to. But when you see him get the opportunity, he hits the hole really well. He's a complete linebacker. He's kind of the next coming of Brian Urlacher, if you will, for this style of defense, I should say. That's my opinion anyway.
Really quickly. Go ahead, man. No.
I'm just going to say Edmonds, he's local to me. Virginia Tech's like 40 minutes from my house. So a lot of people hyped him up locally because, again, Tech is so close. And so I've been hearing about him like the whole time he was in the, leading up to the draft, like about how good he was and stuff. So I'm excited. I mean, his statistics speak for themselves.
You know what's really exciting about this guy is it's damn near having a Julius Pepper-sized guy that can run like a defensive back. lurk in the middle of your defense. It's so fucking difficult. And he can move. When I say move laterally, I mean, he is so quick to the flip of this dude is going to make it difficult because the teams just tore us apart in the middle of the field because we didn't have the guy out there that could stop it. We got 8 the fuck up in the middle of the field, and he'll stop most of that. So, I mean, the benefits of having that kind of linebacker versus a Roquan Smith type of linebacker, the length, the size, man, it is so difficult to game plan pass plays in the middle of the field with that dude lurking there. He can move, man. I mean, we're going to be so shocked at how many plays he makes in the middle of the field, and the defensive backs will eat off of that because he'll be getting so many tipped balls and it'll fall right into their hands. The turnover ratio is going to go up. It's just going to be fun to watch.
I honestly thought that the Bears should have played Roquan in the middle last season before the trade. It seems like he would have played exactly the way Urlacher did, just dropping back with his speed and could go side to side. But for some reason that they didn't want him at the mic. I didn't understand that.
He was playing some mic last year.
For the most part, I saw him playing, the other positions there outside the middle.
If you look at Eberflus's defenses and with the Colts, he very much preferred long, rangy linebackers, preferably arms, just lanky guys that can really screw up because it's a zone-based defense, and you need those types of guys to cover in space to really mess up the play. And I can kind of see that Roquan wasn't quite rangy enough, but I thought he was just that good, so that we're not gonna just let this guy go. But looking at history, I might have been a little bit ham-headed with that way of thinking. He was not an Eberflus type linebacker. I was being a homer, so I will apologize. I know now that they could do better than what they had in Roquan, and they did 2 times better.
I agree. TJ Edwards I think he's going to easily fill that role, maybe even better. Because I think that Edmonds is playing middle, if I had to guess, and then Edwards is playing the will, and they'll probably move Sanborn to the Sam.
Well, what's interesting about that? Sorry, Dan, just real quick. What's interesting about Eberflus's scheme is he's usually the will linebacker is over the ball more than off the ball. That's the truth. And he will tell you that in his interviews when he did his press conferences in Indianapolis. I've watched him. The will linebacker is usually more over the ball than the mic. But they do that kind of thing to confuse the defense so that, the center or the quarterback can't recognize the mic. And it kind of creates so that's why they're interchangeable.
Mm-hmm. Dan?
I was just thinking running back. I saw earlier that the Chargers have announced that Austin Eckler can explore trade options. What do you all think about that? We could still bring back David Montgomery, who we're all fans of, but I guess I'd kind of hoped that we were going to get an upgrade. What do you think about Eckler?
Take a bite, Shorty.
I love Eckler, but trading for a running back? I don't know. What would it cost? A fifth?
Well, you got 10 picks right now in the draft, so
yeah. I'm
not saying you're giving up one of your great picks for him, but if it's like you said, if it's a 5th round pick, maybe you make the move.
What's interesting about him is he really does fit stretch zone scheme, the way he runs the football. He's the kind of guy that kind of lets the block set up really well and is patient. You know what I mean? As opposed to, I'm not saying David Montgomery doesn't do that, but he's a one cut and go kind of running back, and he's really showcases what he can do with out of the backfield passes. Man, this dude is a good route runner. To trade for him, I don't know. If you want to give me a 6th rounder, a 5th rounder, or something, that's about the best I can do. Maybe even 6th rounder, man. But no, we need draft capital and we need players. We do need a running back because I don't think we're going to be able to keep David Montgomery. Somebody's going to offer him a little bit that this team won't offer him. But to trade for him, I don't know.
I just saw Aldo had tweeted earlier.
We have Jordan. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say Aldo had tweeted earlier that, and it's interesting because we had just signed Ogunjobi this time last year, and he is getting 3 years, $28.75 million to re-sign in Pittsburgh. 21 of that is guaranteed, and Aldo was comparing it, juxtaposing to the deal the Bears initially gave him last year, which was 3 years and $40 million with $26 million guaranteed. So it's a smaller deal, but he's still it's not like he's struggling for money. In hindsight, again, even if he was banged up, he would have been the best player on the Bears team last year up front. So I don't know. Maybe they should have kept him, but I guess that's hindsight,
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the chat in here where Jordan says, "When are we going to break the Las Vegas news?" And I'm trying to find what he's talking about.
Maybe they signed Jimmy Garoppolo. Is that what he's talking about?
No, he's probably talking about the Darren Waller being traded from Vegas to New York.
Which one, the Giants or the Jets?
The Giants.
He's a solid tight end for sure.
Oh yeah, he's one of the better tight ends in the league.
Yeah, I concur.
Big time weapon.
Yeah, the Giants acquired Darren Waller in a trade with the Raiders. Let's see.
He's talking about something else.
Is he?
Yeah, I think so.
This chat, I can't even keep up with this chat right now. Where are you at, Tooch?
He said
Tooch is shooting a movie right now, don't you know?
Yeah, he's right here.
I think the silence that poses silence right now is going to be deadly shortly. I think there's a move in place. He knows that. Depending on if you want to look at, and I keep telling people all the time, he's not the one really guiding who they're picking. Eberflus, he's picking these guys for Eberflus, and based on what he did in Indy, he made it clear to Chris Ballard, we need to have our 3-tech in place. What did he do when he first got here last year? Tried to sign Ogunjobi, get a second bite at the apple. We don't see the 3-tech that we want. I never felt like Draymond Jones was a fit at 3 anyways. I've been talking for months saying that, I like the guy. I love the way he plays, but I don't think he's an Eberflus type of 3-tech, maybe a Lovie Smith type of 3-tech body type, but not Eberflus. Flus would prefer a bigger body guy, maybe a longer guy, but maybe there's a deal on the table for somebody. I can tell you right now, just thinking off the top of my head, Buckner could be a reality for a deal in place. Even Eric Armstead at San Francisco, they're paying a whole bunch of defensive linemen a whole bunch of fucking money, and they just paid Javon Hargraves a bunch of money. Maybe something needs to give down there. Maybe there's something on the table. But I think the silence is going to be deadly here shortly.
Yeah, Hargrove got a 4-year, $80 million deal, 40 guaranteed with San Francisco.
Lord.
That's a lot of money for a guy that's already 30, right?
Good Lord. I didn't think it was going to be that big. I knew he'd get some money, but that was crazy.
I can't believe Geno Smith got $75 million. I know he had a good season. Geno's from here. He went to West Virginia. I just have never thought he was a good player. But hey, he had a good season last year. But to get 3 years, $75 million, boy, you talk about overpaying, in my opinion.
For what? That one season, right?
Yeah, he got a $75 million deal that could be as much as $105 million based on incentives.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dan, the biggest robbery in the offseason so far has got to be Mike McGlinchey. That was fucking highway robbery.
Now, he went to Denver, right?
Yeah, he did. I felt like we almost got shot, and we dodged the bullets. Seriously, like people were shooting at us. Like I hope we don't get this dude. Mike McGlinchey is a solid run blocker. he is okay in pass protection, but he's suspect more than he is okay, and that's not good for the amount of money they're about to pay that cat. That's crazy.
No,
Well, Orlando Brown Jr. is still out there. I like the guy that went from Jacksonville that signed. Where'd he go? Kansas City. Yeah, their lineman. He signed a huge deal for Kansas City. He only gave up 4 or 5 sacks at all the whole season. Played all 17 games. It's like, God, why didn't we go after that guy?
guys, I have a question I have starred here. I don't want to forget. My Taya asks, do you guys think Paris Johnson is better than Darnell Wright?
You want me to answer that, or
I'll let you answer that.
It's hard to say because I mean, yeah, you're comparing an apple to an apple, but I mean, Paris Johnson is a left tackle, Darnell Wright is a right tackle. I think they're equally effective at what they do on each side of the ball.
Hey, Nomad, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You told me to follow Twitter, right? I got breaking news for you. Breaking news. You ready for it?
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions are signing running back David Montgomery.
That's bullshit.
It was tweeted by Hogue.
Is it the right account?
Yeah, it's Adam Hogue for real.
Oh,
it didn't say the terms yet. It just said the Lions are signing former Bears running back David Montgomery per various sources. And again, Adam Hogue has tweeted that 53 seconds ago. I'm going to retweet it now myself.
What's the chat saying? Is that true, chat? Is that true?
I just retweeted it.
Joe Treviso says it's true.
Let me hit up Aldo with that too.
Oh, where the fuck is Don Burr? I'm gonna choke that motherfucker.
Man, we're gonna hate David Montgomery now.
Oh, man. It's true. Here.
I wonder what the contract looked like.
Boy.
3-year deal. Foster Cover says.
Lions are signing former Bears running back David Montgomery.
I'm happy for him, but at the same time, wow, David Montgomery he's on some other shit now, ain't he? What you got to say about that, Dan? How much you gonna love him now?
That's what I'm gonna say. He's gonna be a thorn in our side now. But hey, I wish him well. It's not like he's a guy that I view as like a traitor or something that, you know, could have stayed. Like, I really hate that fucker in Green Bay now, the safety that we had, Amos. Like, I really hate him now because he's talked shit since he left and was talking about how predictable Trubisky is. And, man, it's like, fuck you, man. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to hate Montgomery. I'm going to hate playing against him, though, because he's probably going to have big games against us. But if I'm being real, it seems like he gets nagging injuries and gets hurt a little bit. So there's a chance he may not even play in both games against the Bears, but he might just be a horse against us, too. I wish him well. I just wish he hadn't stayed in the North, though.
Don Burr is like fucking Candyman. I said his name. He just came out of nowhere.
You didn't even have to say it 3 times.
I didn't see his name one fucking time in this chat. And all of a sudden that happened.
What does Burr think about this? If he's the big Lion fan, you know?
That'd be interesting. Say something, Don. What you think about it?
Yeah,
I ain't worried about his ass because we got a linebacker core that'll tear his ass up now. Shit, he can bring it.
Tareen says, y'all cheating, Don.
I honestly thought when the season was over that he was gone. And it's not that I wanted him to be gone, but I really thought, you know, the Bears have been praising him, and it just felt like, oh, we want to keep it. It felt a little disingenuous. Like when I heard Pace talk about him, I thought he didn't really want to keep him.
You know what? I'm like Della Reese and Harlem Nights. Come on, sugar. Bring your ass. Come on, sugar. We got the linebacker core. Come on.
Saying how many Eldo's having a funeral show for money tomorrow.
We'll eat his ass up with this linebacker core. I love David Montgomery, but we eating his ass up.
He's the best running back they've had probably since Barry Sanders.
I know.
Don said he love it.
PJ, and I know that we're in mourning right now, aren't we, buddy?
That was a he was I'm getting you back, motherfucking move. I had probably 3 other offers out there, but let me go to Detroit.
Here goes the contract, guys. Adam Schefter, David Montgomery, 3 years, 18 million, 11 of it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
And that's from Schefter, so you know it's real.
3 years, 18 million,
11 guaranteed.
11 million.
So it's basically 4 million a year. Man, really? But I think they were ready to let him go. I think they just want to be more explosive. And I've said that for the longest time. I don't think Bears fans was ready to hear it, but now you see.
Let me make a banner here. Hold on.
I hate to see that guy go, though, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I really do love to watch that dude play football.
Well, if I'd have told you about a month ago the Bears will have to pay him $6 million a year, $11 million guaranteed, would you have said, "Oh, that's a good deal," or "That's too much"?
That's a robbery, but I knew they'd never offer it to him because they want to go another direction.
So you're saying, in your opinion,
But
like
the
Montgomery is worth that money. It's not they paid him too much, but just like you said, the Bears decided they wanted a different player.
No doubt he's worth the money.
That's what I was thinking too.
$6 million, that's a slap in the face almost for him because he plays so hard. But you know, what can you do?
I want to cry. I want to fucking cry right now. The Lions. I would if he left and went to the Bills or.
It's better than Green Bay. It's better than Green Bay.
Man,
Not right now though, man. The Lions are they're becoming a thorn in our sides. Then he just took one of our best players, one of our beloved players. This hurts, man.
it's the duality of a Bears fan. Sometimes I mean I love our fan base, but sometimes these guys love so much they don't want to let dudes go. You just got to listen to the coaches and the GMs, man. When they'll tell you exactly what they plan on doing. They've been saying since they got here, we want to be explosive at every level of the field. He didn't match that. He was everything but explosive. I love to watch that guy play football because he's so goddamn tough. But explosive, he is not.
Foster Covers is right. Everyone said, man, if we could bring Mountie back at $6 million, that would be great.
I mean, if he was a big home run hitter, and if he at least could hit a 50-yarder, man, it'd have been worth giving him $10 million a year, the way he plays football. But $6 million, that's wild.
I would love to see us trade for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, guess what? We're gonna need a running back for sure now.
Yeah, we definitely are going to need a running back now.
Khalil Herbert, although, again, he has a tough running style that I appreciate as well, he's not good at picking up the blitz at all. When he's in the game, it just feels like even what's the cat that was so slow, our third running back? He looked good in the preseason, but was really shitty in the season. We drafted him late last year. Somebody help me out. He was 31 in the preseason, 25. Ebner was better at pass blocking than Herbert, in my opinion. Herbert really, really scares me when it's like, okay, we know it's 3rd and 7, we got to pass, and someone's going to have to pick up the blitz. That worries me when Herbert's in there. So to me, you got to get somebody that's more all around complete. And again, because if you got to pass, Herbert's going to get number 1 killed, in my opinion.
To me, Miles Sanders makes them. Go ahead, Shorty.
No, I was just agreeing with him.
No, I think Miles Sanders makes more sense than it does not. Miles Sanders is perfect for this offense, and he's a homer. He can hit a home run. So can Austin Eckler. I don't know I think that's kind of what they're being quiet about. I think it's maybe Montgomery was taking his time to see if the Bears would match what other guys are asking him. I mean, what they're offering him. And they're taking their time and they're waiting for the people to come down to their price. We're moving into the second tier of free agency. And this is when the second tier and the third tier is when you really start grabbing guys for good value. And still remember, they haven't even used their priority free agent wire yet. They haven't even used that. So they're being patient because they're kind of in charge, and they're lucky enough to be in position to grab guys at the value that they want them in. So right now, if I'm Poles, I'm kind of being quiet too and waiting. But I do believe some of this wait is based on there may be a trade on the table for a player, whether it's a tackle or a offensive tackle or a defensive tackle. There's a guy out there they're trying to get, and they need that to play out before they start really signing guys.
I think I agree with you on that. I mean, it's going to kind of quiet down now, right? They've pretty much made their big splash signings. We might see a couple of here and there, but I think that to your point, more towards the third round of value players, it seems like that's where he's going. He's not going to break the bank, and he's going to try to build through the draft. In fact, I'm almost certain that there's going to be another trade out of the 9th pick. What do you guys think about that? What's your confidence of them staying at number 9?
Before I answer your question, I just want to acknowledge a tweet that our Steve Zimmerman had to punctuate the David Montgomery thing. Quote, "Man, that Demo deal is a gut punch." I agree with him, man. Just because he went to Detroit makes it so much more devastating. To answer your question, like you mentioned earlier, they were at the workout of that gentleman from Northwestern, and potentially maybe they draft him at 9. I think maybe they keep the pick. They've got to get linemen. If they don't sign Orlando Brown, they got to get somebody in here to help Justin. I know the defensive line needs some work. To me, the offensive line has been the gaping thing that they've been playing. Oh, let's sign somebody for 99 cents, some dollar menu shit. They've been like just hoping to find without spending a lot of money for almost 10 years now on the offensive line. And Poles is supposed to be the guy to fix offensive line because he played there. So they've got to give it serious attention to protect this quarterback. So to me, they draft a lineman there.
Now, are you asking if they are going to do that before the draft or when the draft happens? What are you asking?
I would say it's going to happen during the draft. There'll be a player sitting there, maybe a quarterback that a team needs, or maybe even Carter, and the Bears don't want him.
Okay, because what I think could happen is they have a handful of guys that they probably have in mind at that pick. If those guys aren't there, then yes, I could see a trade back, because it's a lot more value back in this draft than, really staying in place or reaching to go forward when you can get more capital going back. And there's some really good players after 9 and even after 20, 25, 30, some really, really good fucking football players. And so would I see it as a problem if they traded out at the top 10? If they didn't see some of the guys that they coveted at that spot, I would have zero problem at all. If they prove anything to me, they have an eye for evaluating talent. I've said that over and over again, and I hope by what they're doing right now is proven to you that they know how to evaluate guys and bring the right guys in for what they're trying to do. They've got my 100% trust. I won't question any fucking thing that they do right about now. I'm just going to let this shit play out and okay, let's see what y'all thinking. That's kind of where my mind is.
That's how I feel too. Pretty well said. I trust this process. I trust in Poles. I trust.
No doubt.
So we haven't talked about go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say, without David Montgomery now, the entire 2019 draft class is gone.
Who was in that draft class again?
I'm looking at it. Riley Ridley, Calvin Ridley's brother, and Duke Shelley, who I believe is still in Minnesota. Kareth White, who we had briefly. Steven Denmark. I mean, it wasn't exactly the best year of Mr. Pace's run.
That's terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
And I keep telling people, Pace was not a college personnel guy, a college scout guy. He was a pro personnel guy. And what he did was he didn't really value draft capital because that's not his forte. That's not his background. He is a pro guy. And he tried to build a team off of other people's players. That's what he was trying to do. This guy we have now is exactly the opposite, polar opposite of Ryan Pace. He wants to build this guy with college players through the draft. And I prefer that method of going about it because the younger you are, the better you are in the long run. And I love what they're doing.
I love it too because you can take the picks that if you can just keep doing this year after year, like for example, the Chiefs, as good as they are, and they trade Tyreek Hill for a boatload of picks, and that's going to keep them in the game. So if you can even draft and develop, take as many swings as you can, draft and develop those players, and you might be able to develop a receiver you can trade in the future for a few first round picks and just keep the train going. It's just so refreshing to have this kind of general manager and this thought process as a fan of the Bears that it's almost incomprehensible. It's hard to fathom this is actually happening to us.
You know what's interesting, man, is everybody thinks what they see out there on the board is all there is out there. There are guys that are still big name guys that are still getting cut and released as we speak, and they're cap casualties. And maybe the brass and Hallis Hall know that it's some guys that are gonna come loose here, and we can just chill out and just wait because either they're gonna re-sign them, restructure some contracts, or they're gonna have to let them go because trades haven't come through. They're waiting for people to be traded or get trade offers, and the smart ones will stay back and wait and let's see what happens because you always can fall back in the draft if you don't get them.
It's 100% true. This free agency class, we're still not done with. So we haven't talked about Nate Davis yet. What do you guys think about that signing at guard? What does that mean? Does that kind of fall into what PJ was saying? Does that mean he's going to play right guard and we're going to move Jenkins back to right tackle?
Wow. Go ahead, Dan Aguirre.
I don't know. I mean, remember, this regime is the one who wanted to move him inside, and they seemingly didn't like him. They kept talking about trading him, and maybe all of that is legit. Maybe they still don't believe in him because he was injury prone. I like him. I like listening to him talk, and I hope he has a place on this team. And I feel like he's sort of not had a fair shot here. And I can say that about Whitehair early on when he was going from center to left guard. He's played right guard. Having said all that, I think Cody's done. He's too old. He's not that good anymore. So maybe you play the gentleman we just signed from Tennessee at left guard, and maybe you just keep, him at right guard, and then I guess Lucas Patrick at center. I suppose, and it can't be. Yeah, I'm not even going to say his name. I hope we cut that fucker. You know what I'm talking. He's awful. I mean, I'm not saying that the Bears haven't had bad offensive linemen before, but our center has been the worst guy I've seen in years.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back, dude.
I hope not. His mom was attacking Justin. You remember that? Like in the midseason?
Yeah.
His mom was blaming that shit on his ineffectiveness on Justin. Well, if Justin, I forget what she said, but they literally blame Fields for Mustafa's struggles. I said it.
You know what, Dan? They as much as the fans hate Musty, you know what? The fucking coaching staff don't, because they put kind of exclusive rights on his tender. Like, you're gonna have to go through the front office of the Bears to get him. If you tender Mustafa, you gotta tender you better come with it because they see value in Sam Mustafa. And I understand where they're coming from. It's easy to pick on Sam Mustafa. He fucking sucked at times. He fucking sucked. But one thing you can say about Sam Mustafa, the motherfucker don't miss plays. He's available. He doesn't miss games. He doesn't miss practices. He's constantly there. This motherfucker's going to be there after the nuclear bomb explodes on this motherfucker like spam. He's constantly there. And that's valuable to coaches. And so, yeah, you know what? Can we improve at center? Fuck yeah. We need to get a good starting center. If they don't think what's his name? Patrick is the guy. If they think he's, he got a little bit too injured for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do think they ought to be looking for a long-term center. Mustapher is not the guy. So, I understand all that stuff.
And Patrick, I think, was it a 2-year deal he signed? So he's only got 1 or 2 more years under contract. So, I mean, if the Bears could easily move on from him, but for some reason they thought his Packer tape, he was really good at center. He was really bad at guard for the Bears when I saw him play. And he didn't really play center because if you recall, he got hurt the first day of fucking camp. And then as soon as the first game he started center, I believe, was against the Patriots, and he was out before the first quarter was over. And out for the season. So, yeah, we have no idea what we got there. I just know that we need more help than that. Like, to me, like, I wanted 2 or 3 new starters on offensive line. I just got to be honest with you. And you figure Braxton's going to stay at left tackle, right? So, and the new cat's going to be either the center or I'm sorry, the left guard or the right guard. So to me, and maybe Patrick Center, you got it. I mean, maybe they're after Orlando Brown for right tackle. I don't know. I don't even know if that's what they would do with him if they signed him. Maybe he would play the left and Braxton would go right, or maybe they draft somebody. They need more help. I can't say that enough.
I don't know how we started this with Nate Davis and ended up on Sam Mustapher.
Sam the
You
cop.
better watch out. His fucking mom will be on here talking shit to us.
I ain't fucking with Sam Mustapher. Nope. Not doing it. I've seen that shit on Twitter, man. I'm not fucking with that guy, man. I've got nothing but high praise for Sam Mustapher.
I do too, man. He's got a soft spot in my heart because he's an undrafted free agent, and he was there for us when we needed him in a shitty season, and he kind of just stuck around like a cockroach. So
can you imagine after a nuclear bomb, Sam coming through the ashes with the ball in his hand, ready to snap it? He's done. He's not going nowhere, man. I'm telling you, he's reliable, man, and that's valuable to a coach.
And what sucks is that, we put all this investment into Patrick and we still don't even know what we have there, right? We know that we have a shitty guard. That's about it. So here we are looking for a center again.
I would say Patrick is like a center only after last year. Like, I don't even want him on the field. Like, if somebody gets hurt, he's not even the backup guard. He's the center and the center only. Even if he loses his job, you're the backup center then. You do not play guard. You're not any good there.
No question about that shit. You know what, man? I kind of feel a little guilty for getting on Patrick, man, because he just got dealt a bad hand this year. I mean, the shit that happened this year with his injuries and getting thrust into a position he really didn't want to play, but knowing that he had to play just to fill in the gap, looking bad, and everybody's got a bad taste in their mouth on Lucas Patrick when he was a solid center when he was playing for Green Bay. Whenever they put him in, he was really solid at center. So, maybe he didn't get a chance to shine in the way that they intended for him to shine. And I think we all have that taste in our mouth, and we don't want to let that go. But to me, go ahead, Dad.
I was just going to say, Patrick missed the whole second half of the season with a toe. Now, I don't want to discredit a bad toe, especially if we're talking NBA. I mean, some shit like that, plantar fasciitis, some shit like that. Your feet are obviously important. But a lot of players, again, you just don't know the extent of his injury, but a lot of players will wrap the toe up and be back next week. Or even if it's a surgery, they're back in a month. He was like out the rest of the fucking season from week 8 or 9 with a toe. They didn't even say it was a broken toe. They just called it a toe. He's got a toe injury and missed the rest of the year. I'm not saying he's not tough. I'm not trying to question that, but it's just interesting to me. Maybe the Bears said, all right, we're going to be bad this year anyway. Just get your fucking toe right. But it seems like a toe would make you miss 10 games. It just felt a little much.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I know. A toe does seem like a lot, but if try walking on a broken toe. It's not easy, especially if it's a big toe.
Look at it this way. Those guys are always on the balls of their feet and planting and trying to anchor and trying to push dudes around. They're 300-something pounds. I think toes are pretty damn important.
No, I agree. It felt like it wouldn't be the rest of the season is what I'm saying.
Right.
No, man. I've never really had a serious toe injury. Nothing that
Cut the damn thing off. Someone said James Hunter. Ronnie Loddett, just cut the toe off.
I broke the big toe on my left foot, and it's still injured to this day. Half of it's numb, so I can attest it was bad. I mean, you never know what he's going through with a foot injury like that.
Did you have surgery?
No, but I probably should have. I never went to the doctor.
Well, I bet he had surgery probably like 2 days after the injury, though. We just don't know, the Bears are going to take care of his shit. So his toe's probably tip top now, especially.
Sure.
Hey, you guys know something? I've had some pretty bad injuries in my day, but the worst injury I've ever had was something getting under my fucking cuticle and my nail. That fucking shit hurts, man. That fucking shit. Get something under your cuticle, man, under your fingernail. Oh my God, that's fucking aggravating. I fucking hate it. I had some bad injuries, but that shit hurt worse than everything.
Yeah, man, that is painful. That is very painful. You know what I did? I was grilling one night, and I have that tower that you put all the coals in before you light it, and you got to dump it in.
Right.
And then I was in the pool, and I jumped out because it was flaming and it was getting really high. So I jumped out, I dumped it over, and the coals splattered, and one of them landed on the concrete, and I stepped back and I stood on it with my bare foot. And then it was stuck to my foot because I had put all my weight on it. So I was trying to shake it off and it wouldn't come off my foot. It was awful. It was the worst burn. You don't want to injure your feet, man. That's the point. Don't injure your feet.
That's a burn to your soul.
Dude.
I got a tweet to read you from Aaron Lemming. Aaron Lemming says, it's an interesting point. Unless Montgomery wanted out, the price of this deal tells me the Bears didn't have quite as much interest in keeping him as Ryan Poles has made it seem like.
Yeah. I heard that same
3 years,
lip service.
18 million, I'd say so.
The lip service he gave to David Montgomery is eerily similar to what he gave to Roquan Smith. We love the player. You don't really, but that's just, GM talk, I guess, or coach talk. I thought it was set in stone that they didn't extend him. It was on.
Heidi, I love Heidi. Heidi Zimmerman. She's such a sexy lady. Mexican, has that the podcast with the Mexican Spanish Bears fans.
Mm-hmm.
But she just said our 2024 pick just climbed to the top now because you guessed it. The Carolina Panthers have signed quarterback Andy Dalton to a 2-year, $10 million deal. And don't forget, Ryan Pace signed him to a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Bears 2 years ago. But yeah, Andy Dalton's their starter. Come on, man. The Bears are going to have a really high pick in 2024 for the Carolina one. How's this guy still in the league? I mean, seriously, how is Andy Dalton still in the league?
We could end up with the first pick in next year's draft from the Panthers or the second pick.
Yeah, for real. Dalton's awful, man. And the worst part about that trade or that acquisition was that Nick Foles was still on the roster, and Foles was better than he was.
Yeah.
And not only has Foles been a Super Bowl MVP, when he got to play, he won us a game in Seattle, doing everything that Dalton couldn't the whole season. So if you're not going to play Fields, why don't you just play, Nick Foles and not even sign Andy Dalton? That was one of the worst picks I think the Bears have ever had. He's about as bad as Mike Glennon.
Yeah, terrible. But how fun is it going to be to root for two teams this year, guys? We're going to be rooting for the Panthers to lose and the Bears to win.
I'm just tripping out off Andy Dalton. That motherfucker hair reminds me of Thanksgiving. And just imagine him looking in the mirror every day of his life and saying, you know what? It's going to be a team out there every year that's going to pay me millions of dollars to fuck them over when the time comes. Period. He's going to fuck them up like Mitch does, like so many other quarterbacks, and they just don't have it when the time comes. They'll get you through a season. They'll get you through games, and they'll win some games and make it some 300-400 yard passing games. But when it comes down to it, they're going to Kirk Cousins your ass. Mm-hmm. And he's just one of those guys. But he's going to get paid millions and millions of dollars every year, And I'm there for it, I guess he says to himself in the mirror.
It's like the backup we had to Mitch. He was number 4 with us. He always had those fucking big hats on. What was his name?
Daniel?
Yeah, Chase Daniels. How much millions of dollars has Chase Daniel accrued in his career? And he's made like 8 or 9 starts his whole life and has made like $40 million in the league.
Right.
They say the best job
That's
in
the
the
gift you
league is backup quarterback.
Case Keenum is another example. Like Case Keenum signed as a free agent somewhere. He had that really good year in Minnesota in 2017. It's like, oh, they said he was a Buffalo Bill last year. I was like, I didn't even know that. He's still in the league. He signed somewhere. I forget. I saw it earlier today. I was like, he's still in the league? But he did have that good 2017 year where he led the Vikings to the championship game. But beyond that guy's been just a bum.
Yeah, I've got a friend that's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I mean, he's a diehard too. Diehard. Like everything about his whole fucking life is black and yellow. And he called me today. He's trying to call me yesterday, but I couldn't talk to him. But he's hot that they signed Patrick Peterson. And I cussed him out. I'm like, motherfucker, what y'all got? You have anything else? You don't have shit as far as cornerback. The best cornerback you had, you just let go to Detroit, Cam Sutton. And he's not very good. And they signed a 34-year-old Patrick Peterson, who's going to be a Hall of Famer. And he's just going off. But I told him, man, I'm like, dude, Patrick Peterson is playing because guys are willing to pay him, man. There are teams out there
fairly well in Minnesota, honestly.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I think he was just in his feelings about it, but he wasn't being objective, and I cussed his ass out. Oh, what happened?
Sophisticated Thoughts brought up an interesting point with what's his name going to Andy Dalton going to the Panthers. Was he going to back up CJ Stroud now?
Whew.
Or actually, he said it, Anthony Richardson, because CJ Stroud would be.
Is it just
Okay, either my internet's fucking up or Dan's is
going to
fucking
draft
up.
Stroud. So,
I think it's Shorty because he's doing the same thing. He's fragging on me too.
Okay, cool. It's not me.
is
then.
it, am I? All right.
Yeah, you started to sound like a robot there for a minute.
You got a little lag there.
Today, am I better now? No, I just cut out.
No.
How am I not?
Now you're
don't know.
pixelating.
No. Any better?
I'm
Well, that's
not sure
interesting.
yet.
Hold on.
Your audio is fine.
You
It's
guys,
just your
you guys
video.
run the show. All right.
It's just your video. It's not your audio. You can talk.
Try this. Okay. But I was saying, I think they're going to draft Stroud. So it'd be funny if Dalton was backing up Fields and now he's going to be backing up Stroud.
Redhead, man. That dude is I think Andy Dalton is a good thrower of the football, as long as the games don't count. If the game means something and you know your status is on the line as far as playoffs, he's gonna fuck you. He's gonna fuck you good.
Yeah, he was on some good teams in Cincinnati, and they always lost a playoff game when he was in there. So and by the time we had him, he was obviously in his early 30s. I just don't know how he's still in the league. I mean, he's just not very good at this juncture. He was okay in 2009, 10. Again, was he going to win you a playoff game? Obviously not. But I just don't know how he's still in the league in 2023 getting $10 million deals.
It just goes to show you how hard it is to find a solid quarterback. That guys like Mike Glennon, Andy Dalton, guys like that can still play football in this league. It's fucking crazy, man. But that's because it took a long time for this league to be accepting of different types of quarterbacks. And I think that's what the problem was. I mean, there's always been a lot of quarterbacks who could play. They just didn't play a certain style of football. And I think that kind of...
Oh, we just signed it back. I've got breaking news.
What?
Breaking news. Former Seattle Seahawks running back Travis Homer is signing a 2-year deal, $4.5 million with the Chicago Bears.
Ooh, how much? Say it again.
2 years, 4.5 million. This is from
Ooh.
Adam Schefter again. Do you know anything about this guy? I don't really. I've seen some Seahawks football this year, but I don't remember him standing out to me.
Very, very strong, very physical runner. Very, I mean, his legs, his lower body is really. That's a guy that I've seen in Seattle recently, and because they had like 3 backs that are pretty good, he didn't get as many snaps as I thought he should. Every time I saw him, I was like, man, why don't they play him more? He's really physical, man, and he's really good in that zone, that wide zone kind of run scheme, man. And he's gonna be hell to deal with. Just look and don't believe me, just go look at the tape. This dude his body's gotten bigger, his body's gotten stronger, and I think he was underutilized in Seattle. I thought he was probably for a minute there their best running back.
And they didn't pay a lot of money for him either. He's only 24 years old as well. He was born August 7th of 1998. He played at the U.
Yeah,
Wow.
and he can hit a home run. He can hit a home run. He's big. He's not big, but he's just big enough, especially a lower body, and he can hit you a home run.
Like you were saying, he didn't get a lot of carries last year, but he averaged 5.5 yards per carry. He also caught 52 balls. That's his career. That's his career stats. I'm sorry. He's caught 52 in his career for 464 and 2 touchdowns, and he's got 453 yards rushing in his career, but he's averaged 5.5 yards per carry.
I hope you can find some video on him, because the way I'm describing him, there's a bunch of guys in the chat that really know who he is and have seen him. I haven't done a whole lot of homework on him, but what I've seen is like, why don't I see him more?
He's 5'10", 202 pounds in terms of his stature.
All muscle, too. Not a fucking
I'm
ounce
sure.
of fat on him.
So maybe they still draft a young kid, like 3rd, 4th round, somewhere through there, and then go with he and Khalil Herbert at the tailback positions.
You looking for video?
I don't want to pull up a video, but I'm just trying to pull up a picture of him here.
Do you want me to send it to you, or you already got it?
No, I'm just trying to pull up the picture of him.
I had a picture of him.
Oh, okay. I don't want to do video.
He doesn't fuck around, man. He's not trying to dodge tackles. He's a one cut, and I'm getting in your ass, and you get in front of me, I'm a pound you. No fucking around. He's not trying to shake nobody. He's not trying to juke nobody. He'll get you a little juke cut here and there, but he's a straight ahead north and south kind of runner.
What's his 40 time, Dan? Do you have that?
I do not. I've looked for it.
Let's see. Travis 40 time.
Somebody just put up he's a 4.48 J2K. Thank you. 4.48. That's pretty goddamn fast.
4.48. That's good.
You can hit a home run.
How about special teams?
It says here that was his main job in Seattle. I don't know if he was a gunner or if he was a returner.
He's not going to be a special. He's going to run the ball here.
Yeah.
What was the contract? One more time.
Let me see. I think it was 2 years, 4.5 million. Let me get back to it though. I tweeted it. I was looking for other information on him. Yeah. Okay. Here it is again. Travis Homer signing a 2-year deal worth a maximum of 4.5 million with the Bears per his agent.
I like it. I really like it. They got a really tough running back, really fast running back. And they basically just said, go ahead, Dave Montgomery. We'll take this and top it. You're tough and you're pretty good, but we got something that we think can fit better here than you did, and we'll pay him less. And that was a smack in his face.
I do remember him being a little spark plug. Like this image here is.
The Skeet Dog said, I live in Tacoma, Washington, and he is fast.
This image right here. With him right. All right, it's getting smaller. But his arms are ripped right here. You guys see that? Jeez.
Adam Johns says that in spite of the acquisition, he thinks that Khalil Herbert is the Bears' number one running back.
He probably is for now, but we'll see in camp. We'll see in camp.
He is for now, yeah. I saw somebody else earlier saying Tyjae Spears. I would love Tyjae Spears on this team.
Don Burris calling the guy third. Man, look, Don, let me tell you something. Thing about some of these guys, when you have premier backs that you wait for your snaps under those guys, you're not shining like you really want to shine. You get a guy like a Travis Homer that's been waiting for his opportunity playing special teams. Dude can pop loose in camp and everybody be surprised. I'm sure they're going to still draft a running back, may even add another running back. Who knows? But the guys like that, I really root for because he's done his due time, behind guys, and he's been working on his craft. And every time I seen him play, I was fucking impressed with him. I wouldn't want to get in front of him. What did Dan say? 5-something yards a carry? Come on,
5.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, that's telling you something.
And Sophisticated Thought says one thing you know about Seattle running backs is that they're usually good at run blocking as well.
Yes. Yeah, true. Good point. Very good point.
And Taurine probably plays special teams. Yep, that's what we were just talking about. Hopefully we get a punt return around of this because we need that. Because that's not Velus Jones' job anymore.
They like him for some reason, though, because they drafted him. So he's probably going to get anointed the punt return, at least in camp.
I fucking love that value signing, man. Ooh, I love that.
That is a good value signing. This is what I like about Poles. This is what he did last year. Last year was kind of he tried to do the best he could with the salary cap, but this year he's able to do a little bit more with the money he has to get better depth for this team, and I'm loving what I'm seeing so far from this free agent class. It's not he's not breaking the bank per se. He's getting good quality players and building a team, and the draft is yet to come.
Hold on, let me break Don Burr balls right quick. I can imagine Don Burr. He's been on every Bears chat talking shit, big time shit, and just gloating about how his team is going to run the North and we finna take over the North. And the minute and the second, I bet you I can see his ass on the couch, stretched out on his couch in his drawers and his wife beater with hot sauce stains on that motherfucking Cheeto. The minute he saw that first signing of TJ Edwards, he stopped chewing that popcorn he was eating on. But when he saw that TJ Edmonds, he popped up. That motherfucker got up off that goddamn couch and stood there like, oh, fuck. I'm going to quit talking so much shit. But it ain't stopping yet. I love you, my boy, though. But quit talking so much shit. We about to bust y'all's ass.
Oh, man. Every time I try to press chat, it moves so fast that I'm hitting the next one below it. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining us tonight down in Aldo.
I was trying to get Aldo's reaction to the move. He hasn't seen. He followed, like, as soon as I sent him the Montgomery thing, he saw that immediately, but he hasn't caught our new running back. The other guys apparently aren't too happy about it. Zimmerman and Aaron just says, I'll catch up on all this tomorrow. But Zimmerman's like, what the fuck? Why?
What happened now? My attention was.
I'm sorry. I was just looking at some of the other people's reactions and letting Montgomery go to Detroit and then signing the gentleman that we did sign. He was just like, what the fuck, man? Why? And most people seem to be positive about it, but Zim wasn't.
I think it was Skeet Dog in the chat that lives out in that area and has seen what I'm trying to describe. This dude is nice. He was just underutilized. That was the only problem. Underutilization doesn't mean you ain't good.
Yeah, Thomas Jones, for example,
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted so high in Arizona, but he was in Tampa and was having to split carries when the Bears signed him. And then when he came here, he's a horse. I mean, when they made him the main guy. So again,
quiet, you motherfucker. That is an excellent comp. That is an excellent comp to him. Wait until you see this guy on tape and watch his legs, his gait, and just his body type, and it's gonna remind you of exactly him. Fuck, why didn't I think of that?
I was just showing you his guns there. Look at you can. It's hard to see him in that image, but his guns are ablazing right there.
That is a good ass fucking comp. I've been looking at this dude and trying to figure out who he reminds me of, and fucking Dan Aguirre just did it.
If you could get a player like Thomas Jones, I mean, again, I know he was a first round pick, but man, in 2005, if you all can remember, that's when Rex was hurt and they started Kyle Orton, who was again a 4th round pick out of Purdue and didn't know what the fuck he was doing at all. He was completing like 60, 70 yards a game. And the point being, Thomas Jones was like, all right, so there's what, 9 players in the box. Okay, I'm still going to get 165 yards today against 8 9-man fronts the whole season. Unbelievable.
Golly, wait until you guys see the video of this dude. That's who he fucking reminds me of, the way he ran the ball and his body type. Fucking Thomas Jones.
I remember seeing him play for Seattle and thinking he's a little shifty, little fucking quick spark plug. And he's got some power to him. I liked him.
Son of a bitch. And he wears 20 too. He wears the number 20.
And his last name fits right along with PJ. He's a homer.
Aldo says the Bears will draft their starting running back in the 2023 draft.
I do believe that there's some strong possibility to that.
Guys, you guys ready for the next Bears state of affairs?
Tuccini.
We got the Tuccini in the house. Tuccini, how you doing, buddy? Are you muted?
Nah, I'm not muted. I'm just fucking with you. What is happening? Barflies. All right. Danny Aguirre and Nomad, Mr. Shorty, all those off somewhere, spanking one off. We're rolling Bear State of Affairs. Shorty, you going to stick around? You got to pee.
I'm going to take a leak. You want to roll? I don't want to miss it, but I got to take a leak. It's a good time.
I'll wait till you get back.
Hey, before you go, Tooch,
Yeah.
Aaron Mikulski, who you and I both worked with on I Have a Stream, big fan of Aaron. Yeah, he says, David Montgomery will rush for 6 touchdowns in 2023 as a Lion versus the Bears now.
Yeah. three a game against us.
Yeah, exactly.
How's Nomad doing?
Nomad is just existing, man. I can't even tell you personally how bad it's been for me since the last time I seen you guys, but there ain't nobody here to hear that shit. But it's been
the film projector's been working overtime with all these signings, right?
Right.
I
got to piss right out to him, man.
All right. I was a big fan of Tremaine Edwards coming out. I wanted him over Roquan Smith. I guess I got my wish finally. But, the kid, he was 19, young. I remember arguing with Barflies back then about how I would have rather had Tremaine over Roquan. But, hey, what the hell? We got him now. So we'll see how he does. And we got the linebacking core is looking good for next year. I don't want to get into too much because a lot of this is in Bear State of Affairs. So how's Danny Aguirre doing?
I've been better, like Nomad. I've been going through some shit. I went a couple of days without even having heat. So
fucking, I didn't expect to walk into a pity party here with all this great Bears news. What the fuck, you guys?
You're right. I'm trying to hold on. The word's perseverance, but the word's also cold. When it's 25 degrees outside and you have no heat, it is fucking brick in your house.
Yeah, I know. Over the weekend, we got like 6 inches of snow here in Des Moines.
Yeah, it's snowing here too. At least I have the emergency heat going now, so that's better than nothing.
Fucking
Columbus, Ohio,
Groundhog wasn't lying. Right now, man. Groundhog wasn't lying this year.
Man, I don't trust them groundhogs, man. I never have.
All right. So Bears Barflies want to hear state of affairs, or what do you think?
Let's go.
Danny? We roll it?
We're ready.
All right, there we go. is Bears State of Affairs. Here we go. Off season, week 8. What's happening, Bars Flies? Well, Bears fans, there really hasn't been a lot of Bears news these days. Yeah, I don't know. I just fucking with you. This was possibly the best offseason in Bears history. Yeah, because free agency finally started for the Bears, but not for the other 31 NFL teams because the Bears signed every free agent out there, leaving nothing for the other 31 teams. But seriously, didn't it feel like we got all the good ones and no one else got anything good? Life in our Bears bubble is good. Man, Ryan Poles may like to trade back like a fiend, but apparently he also loves grabbing top free agents too. Have budget, will spend. Seriously, this was just as exciting as draft day. Not even Don Burr could piss in our cornflakes after yesterday. Hell, we don't even know how many times Dan Aguirre masturbated yesterday. It was probably a lot. Hell, Nomad.
Too cold to masturbate.
Hell, Nomad and Todd Shirley spanked off a few knuckle children. And the barkeeper shit. His pecker nearly fell off. Well, yesterday, Ryan Poles rebuilt the Bears linebacking core in a single day by signing former Bills star linebacker Tremaine Edmonds to the richest contract for a linebacker in NFL history, keeping alive that Bears middle linebacking tradition. Love it. And he also grabbed Eagles standout linebacker TJ Edwards. Now, this might be confusing to some Bears fans out there. We got a DJ and a TJ. We got Edmonds and an Edwards. For sure, this will definitely trip up the barkeeper a time or two, Danny. But, well, Poles, he's going to be, he's going to be like TJ Edmonds and Tremaine Edwards. Poles almost made me forget that he also traded the number 1 overall pick over the weekend, too. Yeah, he did that, too. Dude has been busy. He traded out of the first pick, sending the number 1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers for their number 9 overall pick, wide receiver DJ Moore. The Panthers' number 61 overall pick, a first-round pick in 2024, and a second-round pick in 2025. Not a bad haul. I'm starting to really like you, Mr. Poles. And while trading back from 1 to 9 may not have been the ideal result for the Bears fans, let's not forget that Poles also got Justin Fields, a true number 1 wide receiver, and DJ Moore. That's kind of worth a first-round pick. Moore immediately becomes the Bears' best wide receiver. In fact, if Moore had been with the Bears his whole career, he would be the Bears' all-time leading receiver. Plus, he's still young and under contract for 3 more years. But Ryan Poles wasn't near finished. He also bolstered both lines, assigning not 1 but 2 Titans, defensive lineman DeMarcus Walker and offensive lineman Nate Davis. Walker will likely play that 3 technique that is so vital to this Bears defense. And Davis, he'll help solidify the interior of that Bears offensive line. The bottom line, Bears just got a whole hell of a lot better. And Bears fans, you can't help but feel a little nostalgic here. Poles is rebuilding the Bears' 2005 defense. He's got Tremaine Edmonds. See, I did it. Danny, I did it. I did it too. He's got Tremaine Edmonds to play that Urlacher middle linebacker. Tall, fast, can jump and cover the deep middle. He got TJ Edwards, who had 157 tackles last year with the NFC champs, to play that Briggs will linebacker spot. He got Walker to play that Tommy Harris 3 tech. And with Moore and Davis added to the offense, Justin Fields will have a better opportunity to grow into an MVP quarterback, just like Nomad says. Are we feeling good, Barflies? Oh, yeah. Now Pace could turn his attention to the draft, where he might decide he needs to draft a running back, as today David Montgomery agreed to terms with the fucking Lions. Fuck. Look at Don Burr now. Motherfucker's going to piss in our cornflakes after all. Fuck. All right. Well, these next 2 bits might become weekly bet bits. Can we put to bed this old kook? Yeah. Skip Bayless. I'll say it again. The Chicago Bears will ultimately regret not taking Bryce Young with the number 1 overall pick. Justin Fields is pretty good. Bryce Young will be extremely good. This guy needs to fucking shut up. This guy, he's like an old man yelling, "Keep off the grass." Thanks, but no thanks, Skip. Don't forget to take your meds before bedtime. Nighty night.
Motherfucker look
And
like
I suppose it wouldn't be a Bears State of Affairs without mentioning this guy. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. right? It's quite likely that the end has finally come for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Yes, it appears that the mercurial quarterback emerged from his darkness retreat and decided that he wanted to go to the Jets. Really? The fucking Jets? 3 days in darkness and you decide to go to the Jets. Sadly, the Bears won't be able to exact any revenge on Rodgers in the near future, having played the Jets in 2022. Unless we get to defeat his punk ass in the Super Bowl, and that is Bears state of affairs.
So what's the deal with I haven't been following his situation. I know they signed Lazard with the Jets, the Green Bay receiver, and I think they're supposed to take Cobb all to placate. So what's the thing? Is Rodgers just holding this deal up right now, saying he doesn't know what he wants? I assume.
Me or Tooch?
Yep.
Anybody? I really don't know the answer to this. I haven't been following the saga.
Go ahead, Tucci.
Sorry, I'm trying to control here. Shorty and I. Okay, there we are. We're both here, Shorty.
Yeah, I was like, what are you
All right,
doing
we
there? There
Yeah,
you go.
sorry. We get Danny and Nomad back up there too.
Oh, yeah. Where are they at?
Yeah.
They're down here. Let's see.
All right.
Where the hell did they go?
No, I think I heard it was a wish list. He just basically gave him a shit. What do you call that when somebody's holding somebody hostage and shit?
Yeah, like his demands.
Yeah, like what the fuck, man?
Which one
Really?
is the one that puts up both of them, Shorty?
What's up with your deal with
There they are.
fucking
Oh, you got it.
Randall Cobb's old ass?
All right.
Randall
So
Cobb's
we're
like
driving
300 fucking
driving
years
without
old, man.
Aldo today. Aldo gave us the keys to the car, but we're about to crash. Shorty and I.
Are we? Do
All
we have
right.
a delay?
I don't hear one.
That was a delay.
Oh shit. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can try something here.
Why you
All right,
motherfuckers-
what was
said earlier.
What was the
talk
question
while you
again?
motherfuckers are DJing and shit.
Yeah, you talk.
Yeah. What was the question again? I forgot.
About
There
Rodgers,
we go.
what's up with the Jets deal? Like, why hasn't it happened yet? Is he just saying he doesn't know what he wants? Like, what's the latest?
He's not doing his drugs yet. He needs to get his drugs out of his system, and then he can he can sign.
He's still brewing the ayahuasca, Dan.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to
All
know
right.
what it is with Randall Cobb, man. That's kind of weird, man. Randall Cobb's supposed to have been retired, man. This dude's getting money so long as he sticks to Aaron Rodgers. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, Tooch, you're loud. What happened all of a sudden?
Am I loud?
A little bit.
Let me move that mic back a little bit. Nomad.
That's better.
Damn, how's that? Better?
That's better.
All
Go
right.
ahead. Go ahead, Tooch.
Sorry, Nomad. I love the last few days since the weekend, brother. We got a
Well, can
whole hell
somebody
of a
tell
lot
me
better.
the Rodgers thing? Because I really don't know the answer to
sorry.
this. What's his official
Yeah,
stat?
I don't know. I don't know either. I'm just speculating that the rumors are, or maybe more than speculation, that he's going to the Jets.
Well, I saw a couple of people saying if I were the Jets, I would just
Yeah,
give
but
up
what's
on him.
taking
And
so long?
yeah, that's what I'm
question
saying.
there?
What is Rodgers or has he said on Pat McAfee show, or has his agent, like, what's the official stance? So, like, what are they saying is the holdup?
I don't like any of it, man. It's like this dude is standing over the GM's head with his purse and shit, Darren, acting like he's gonna hit him with it. And it all stinks to me. It's like, dude, decide what you're gonna do and stop leaving a whole fucking franchise out there to fucking dry two franchises. It's fucking, I don't like it, man. And I respect Aaron Rodgers as a player more than your average Bear fan. I believe this dude is the best thrower of the football that I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of fucking football. But the way he carries himself in these last, I don't know what happened with this dude, man. But something's different with him, man. And the way he's carried himself, it's just fucking regrettable to see for a dude that has a bona fide legacy of being one of the best quarterbacks that ever fucking lived. It's just fucking shameful to me, man.
I think the answer to your question, Dan, is in the question itself. It's him. He's the one holding this whole thing up. He's the one playing the I can do whatever I want, wait and see, it's on me, and you guys can fuck off until I make the decision. Period. That's all it comes down to is him.
I assume he has a no trade clause, because otherwise Green Bay could just say, fuck you, pal, we're trading you. But I assume if it's up to him, there must be a no trade clause in the contract.
That's a good question. I don't know.
He's a free agent, isn't he?
No,
No.
they own the rights to him.
I mean, what if he just decides, all right, I don't even want to do any of this shit. Y'all signed all them dudes, and I don't even want to play for you. I can't see him in New York anyway. I just don't see it. Not with his personality. I think they fucking eat him alive. New York, they're vicious, man. It's like Chicago. This media market is fucking vicious. He got away with a lot in fucking Green Bay because he's in fucking Green Bay and don't know fucking body live there. But Packers fans, nobody fucking lives there. You ever heard anybody say they're going on vacation in Green Bay, Wisconsin? It's nobody fucking lives there. He got away with a lot of shit. Yeah. And he's an asshole, and he goes to New York, they're gonna expose his ass, and he's gonna want out of there quick.
Yeah, he got a pass for every time Jay didn't smile. The Chicago media was like, "Oh, look at him. He's frowning, and he's got that smirk on his face." All these things that they criticized Jay over, Rodgers did like times 5, and never ever got criticized for that shit in Green Bay. So to your point, in the Chicago media market, he would have been called out the same way they did Jay, and just got a complete pass. So if he goes to New York, they probably will say he's selfish and grumpy and self-centered and all these things, just entitled. The stuff that the Packers media never, ever had the balls to say. They always just sucked up to him.
Isn't like the whole fucking city painted green, like the whole fucking city's painted green and yellow? Is there anything there besides the fucking stadium and some fucking farmer or something somewhere? Like, who the fuck? I've never even been there, but I've seen it in pictures, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to fucking be there. He got away with murder, man, but he was really good. In New York, it'd be different. In Chicago, it would have been different. So,
yeah, Chicago would have molded him as a different person living there than Green Bay did, being out in the middle of nowhere. That I'm sure had to do something with changing him a little bit. Anyone does where you live, So, interesting question.
Like Green Bay is like where people go to die or something.
I tell you, Green Bay should be the ones trading up for that first-round pick if Rodgers gone. I mean, they're going to have to convince players to live in Green Bay and play with Jordan Love, and come in last in the division.
Don't do that, Tooch. If we come out here and denigrate Jordan Love, he'll be the third quarterback in a row to kill us. So, no. Jordan Love, we love you, sir. You're going to be great. I say that with a little bit of facetiousness, but still.
Packers will be trading up for a quarterback in a year or two.
Yeah, well, don't give them any ammunition to make him another guy to kill the Bears.
Okay,
hold on. I have the official platform here. Don Burr has been trying to make a bet with me that Jordan Love would have better stats as a quarterback. I don't know what that means, but better stats as a quarterback by the year end over Justin Fields. And the bet that I was trying to make with him was if you lose, you come on any barroom show of your choice. And if I lose, I'll wear a Detroit Lions hat for a show. But he never wants to commit to that in chat here. Yeah. Maybe he will now that he's
don't forget he told Cliff Victoria he was going to be on Bears Country podcast and no showed.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll
he's Aaron Rodgers. He's just like Aaron Rodgers, Don Burr. He wants everyone to throw roses at him and suck his dick to get him to come on air.
Oh, he says.
See, he's saying bet.
Okay, I got an honest question for Dan Aguirre though, real quick.
Want to shake on that, Don?
He ain't betting, man. He's bullshitting, man.
I know he's fucking full of shit.
Dan Aguirre, serious question. I mean, all your honesty. Forget all your feelings right now at this moment. Think back a couple years ago, right before we drafted Justin Fields, and Aaron Rodgers was potentially getting ready to hit free agency. if he had decided that he wanted to ask the team to trade him to Chicago, would you have been accepting of him?
At the time, I was like, no, don't want him. The same thing I was saying about Brett Favre in 2008, because you may remember at the time he went to the Jets, he was saying he wanted to go to either Chicago or Minnesota. And of course, the Packers weren't going to have any of that, but they couldn't stop him after I guess the Jets cut him. And then he signed with Minnesota. But I was saying I didn't want Favre and I didn't want Rodgers. I mean, both times, man. It's like, I know sometimes you'd say, well, if you'd have had those guys, you'd have won a Super Bowl. But I use the analogy, this is the bully that, like, he beat me out, took my money, and fucked my girlfriend. So, no, hell no, I don't want to be his friend.
Since you put it that way.
Yeah. But then again, if it's Rodgers, he probably beat my ass, took my money, and then fucked one of my guy friends. At least he's not fucking me, other than my feelings on the Bears games.
One that didn't want it to be, he didn't want to be fucked by him.
Exactly.
That's deep. That's deep, man. I'm glad I didn't feel like that about it. I would have been completely objective. Fuck yeah, let's go. With the team we had on defense, man, shit. And they were in their later stages. That would have been a perfect time to get a Super Bowl out of them motherfuckers. He would have been perfect.
Plus, they had the defense ready to go for him. He would have had a few extra years under his belt.
I still think, and again, I'm going back 10 years, I know, but when Jay broke his thumb in 2011, when the Bears were 7-3, I still think if they sign McNabb there, they at least make the playoffs until Jay comes back, and maybe they have a shot at going back to the championship game. Donovan had been cut by Minnesota and was just sitting at the house saying he wanted to go play for the Bears. He grew up in Chicago, and even though he was at the tail end of his career, McNabb was better than anything the Bears had behind Cutler. If you recall, was Caleb Haney, and then later in the year they brought Josh McCown in, who obviously did fairly well as a Bear, but Caleb Haney was fucking killing us. They went from 7-3 and finished 8-8 and didn't make the playoffs after Jay got hurt. 7-3, and they don't make the playoffs.
Man.
And they lose the championship game.
Yeah.
Because
If you sign Donovan there, man, there's no way Donovan doesn't win at least 2 games. Because if they'd have gone 9-7, they would have made the playoffs. Even if it was the last seed, they would have still made it. There's no way Donovan wouldn't have gotten us 2 wins. No way.
Dan don't go to war about Jay Cutler. I ain't feel that way about him. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't feel that way about him. I was kind of like Dan for a long time until that playoff game, man. I don't care what nobody say. I don't believe those little side stories, man, about him having to. What'd you say he did? Had to do something, get shots in his balls or some shit?
No, that was his groin. But on the championship game, Olin Kreutz said, Olin was the center, of course. Olin said that Jay came out in the third quarter and was like, guys, I'm struggling, but I'm not quitting. And we're going on the field, and he said that Jay's entire leg was shaking and throbbing involuntarily. He literally couldn't put weight, not even to stand, on his knee. He had a grade 2 tear of a knee ligament that was so severe, they said, had the Bears lucked up and beaten Green Bay without Jay, because, they still lost 21-14, that he wouldn't have been ready to play the Super Bowl, that he was done. He couldn't put weight on his leg at all. And the Bears did an extreme disservice by not telling Fox to say that. They just didn't let anybody know that he was hurt, and he was riding a bike trying to loosen it up. And everybody's like, oh, he just quit. He doesn't care. And that's part of the Bears' fault for not playing PR there to tell him. He can't even stand on his fucking leg, and he played a series without being able to put weight on it. But in 2013, what you're referencing, he tore his groin, like completely tore his groin against Washington. And it was a high-scoring game. It was like 45-41. RG3 was the quarterback for Washington, and they beat us because to this day, I think Robbie made a field goal. Maybe it was the 3-point loss, because Robbie's kick to me looked good, and they said it was not good. And I was like, look, it clears the top. I mean, I think Robbie made it, and they said he didn't. And so we lost. But Jay was supposed to miss at least a month. And as the story goes, there was a thing called a heart machine, and they were taking blood. I don't know the science of it, but they said they were putting a shot in his balls, basically,
yeah,
and spinning the blood platelets and then re-injecting it into his balls. Again, as a trying to heal his groin, and he ended up coming back. I think he missed one game and came back and played against Detroit. But he was doing those like balls injections with the blood and shit 2 times a day to come back. Like he ended up talking about it extensively on Waddle and Sylvie, but it was Brandon Marshall who was giving him all the credit for it initially, with the media saying like, this dude's getting fucking shots in his goddamn balls, bro, to try to come back. So to me, that's a guy that's tough, man. I wouldn't want a shot in my balls.
I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you exactly what I think rubs me the wrong way about him. And I noticed that about him right away when he came here. It felt like to me, and I looked at his, and looking at his eyes, he had the deadest fucking eyes and no emotion. He just looked, he was there, but he wasn't there. It's like, dude, you even give a fuck about playing football? You just doing this because they pay you, or what the fuck is it with you, man? He just had this disposition about him that, I didn't like it, man. He just read wrong to me, man. And I think some of my feelings about him are based on that, maybe.
How much different, and I'm not discrediting that. I mean, that's valid. Most people agree with you more so than me on Jay. But how's he so different from Rodgers, though? Rodgers has that same stoic, standoffish kind of quality that Jay was. Jay just wasn't very affable. And if he wasn't the quarterback, no one would have given a fuck. But your point's still true. But isn't Rodgers kind of the same? And I know Rodgers won a Super Bowl, but I think, like we said, he's in Green Bay's market, so they give him a pass for everything he does. Like, he could be a sex offender, and they would be like, "Oh, it's Aaron." It's like he just likes to fuck, minors. It's okay.
I mean, at least he has human emotions, man. Like, he has fun on the field and has fun with his teammates and celebrates. Jay just has the same fucking dry ass smug look on his face and just goes sits down. Nobody talks to him. He's just there. You know what I mean? I didn't like nothing about that guy, man.
Well, he's had a couple of guys that would defend him. Back in the day, he had Brandon. Obviously, Brandon got pissed at him because he didn't visit him in the hospital after he got hurt against Dallas, and they apparently still haven't talked since. But like Kyle Long would fuck a motherfucker up for talking bad about Jay. Like Kyle loved him. So I mean, there's some guys that really like him, and then there are others that don't like him.
Guess he was one of those motherfuckers you had to know to get to know.
Fellas, this was a question. J2K posted this question from the chat room. I was going to ask this question anyway, so might as well help him. I was basically asking Bijan Robinson a possibility for the Bears now. What do you think? No, man?
Nope.
You'd have to grab him at 9. Wouldn't you have to grab him at 9?
No. Hell no.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying have. But if you were to take him, you're not going to get him past 9, correct?
I don't think he's going at no 9. I don't think he's going in the first round.
Okay. So, because, I mean, with the 9th overall pick, I'm thinking like offensive lineman, defensive lineman, or cornerback.
Not another corner.
Not
another corner.
There's some good ones up there, man. There's some good ones at 9.
I'm going to be pissed off. They draft a corner first. They draft a corner at number 9. I'm going to be pissed.
Why?
Don't give me this player in the board bullshit. Get us some help. Like Justin needs help. Period.
You better be like Adrian. You better be like Adrian Peterson.
Number 1 wide receiver, and you got him.
But he still needs someone to block. We've had the worst offensive line like the last 10 years in the league, almost near the bottom every year. Going back to Cutler, for God's sake.
Everybody wants Bijan Robinson. They want JSN at like, dude. Those guys. If they get drafted at 9, it'd be a miracle.
Schefter has a story up now on David Montgomery. He just tweeted more about Detroit Lions and former Bears David Montgomery reaching a deal. I'm going to read that real quick and see if there's anything. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. Just giving you breaking news.
No, all I was saying was no. At 9, man, man, Bijan Robinson is a good running back, but you better be like getting like 2,000 yards in a college season, like Adrian Peterson, like. Pretty much just absolutely dominating the field. Like Bijan Robinson didn't do that. Bijan Robinson is a very good running back. That is a very good running back. And I think what he projects in the NFL is something different than what it looks like in college. He got away with a lot of things in college that he will not be able to get away with all that stutter stepping and juking, trying to shake off tacklers and still making a big play. They'll eat his ass up on this level.
I gotta
If
address
I'm
some of these
wrong, I will
comments
admit
in the
it.
chat
But I
room.
don't see it.
Zero chance they draft an offensive player in the first. Bullshit. They could draft an offensive tackle.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
more than likely Paris Johnson.
Yeah, and then
Nah.
people are ripping on me for quarterback. I don't think we're fully set at cornerback unless you sign someone in free agency like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who Danny Shinnon and
cornerback would you
Aldo
be
and,
happy with at
Greg
9?
kept talking about. I wouldn't mind Devon Weatherspoon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think
Dude's a
they're gonna-
shutdown cornerback.
it's going to
Anyways,
be
cornerback is a premium position. You have to take the good ones early. You have to take the good ones in the first position. I'm sorry, that's just the way the NFL is. You know, defensive line, offensive line, and cornerback. I would not be at all shocked if they take a cornerback at number 9. But is it ideal? I mean, Dan makes a great point. Offensive line is, built through
They've
the
been
trenches.
ignoring that for years. I mean,
Have been
ignoring it
ignoring
and
it
trying
for
to
years.
get Band-Aids. Oh, well, Charles Leno, we drafted him in the 139th round or 7th round. It's like, but he's always healthy. But we always have, even when Jay was here, we had Jamarcus Webb was his left tackle at one point, a 7th round pick. At some point, you got to play. Even Braxton Jones is what, a 5th round pick. At some point, you have to put assets into your guys up front.
When was the last time we chose an offensive lineman in the first round?
Was it Chris Williams?
Kyle Long?
Yeah, Kyle Long. That's right. Good. Yeah, in
Kyle Long,
2013. Right? Yeah, in
That was a long time
2013.
ago.
2013, Chris Williams in 08.
Yeah.
And they drafted Gabe Karimi, I think, in the 2nd round in 2010? So, I mean, and none of those guys
Karimi was the end of the first round, like 31 overall, 32.
Oh, I thought he was a 2nd round pick. That's my bad.
I think it was after we lost the Super Bowl that we drafted him.
No. That we did that with Greg Olson in 07. Right. Greg Olson was the last pick in the 07
draft, 07,
first round.
Okay. Karimi was like the last
Karimi in 10.
End of the first round pick.
You guys,
Bears have historically not drafted offensive linemen early. They just haven't.
Stan Thomas, he ended up being a bust as well.
Yep. Chris Williams.
You guys, allow me to ask you all this question, and it's based on what you've seen so far in free agency, who you seen they've picked, who you seen they passed on. I just want to see if you guys see it the way I see it. Would you be in agreement based on what you've seen so far? And the chat can chime in too. Let me know what you think. Do you think, based on what you've seen, that their likely first pick is going to be an offensive lineman if it's the guy that they want is there, based on what you've seen?
I mean, there's a chance that's definitely legitimate. I mean, if they haven't signed the Orlando Brown kind of.
I didn't hear that. You were breaking up.
Are you talking to me or Nomad?
You want me to repeat it?
Nomad was breaking up. I didn't hear what he said. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nomad.
Based on what you've seen so far, with the picks that we've made and the signings that we've made or have not made, do you think it's logical that the first pick that we will take, if that person is there that they want, will be an offensive tackle?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think it's a great chance. I mean, that probably would be, if I were to lay odds, the top choice or top odds, getting the best odds would be offensive lineman. Second would be defensive line, and third would be cornerback.
LT Traveler, I'm saying, based on what you've seen thus far, if that player, like the offensive tackle that I have in mind, if he's not there, could it end up being a defensive player? Hell yeah. If that guy comes off the board, it could end up in a defensive situation with their pick.
I could see him grabbing a defensive end. I mean, what do we have at defensive end, Nomad, right now on the team?
Well, we don't have much, but I think the draft is so defensive end heavy.
Walker's going to play a 3 technique, I would assume.
Thank you. I made a short, and then I made him as a defensive tackle, and somebody called me out for him being a defensive end. I thought he was going to be a 3 tech. Okay, I was right.
I think the guys like Murphy and the Texas Tech defensive end was named Tyree Wilson. Those guys are probably play at number 9 for the Bears if they're still on the board. Wouldn't you think, no, man?
Say that one more time.
The defensive ends are in play at 9. The Texas Tech kid and Miles Murphy. I think the other kid, I forget which is his school. Murphy and Wilson.
I think they may double dip at end. I think they'll double dip at D tackle.
Yep.
If for some reason Carter would fall, you figure the Bears will have to take him.
The reason I say that, like, the Bears might take cornerback is offensive tackle, defensive end, edge rush, and cornerback. Those are the premium position outside of quarterback that teams generally grab in the first round. You know, you can throw a wide receiver in there as well too. But those are the players that teams consider more often than not in the first round.
I've got an interesting tweet here from Danny Shimon, and it's something that Aldo and I talked about a lot during the Bears tanking, which I think we could all agree that when you start 2-1 and finish 3-14, you pretty much tanked, especially in the last game when, you know, your one quarterback's playing well, then they bring in a kid that they just signed 3 days before off the street, and they're like, this first guy's he's playing a little bit too well. We're in the game. But anyway, with that, we wondered, like, are you setting yourself up for having a culture of losing, a team that's okay with losing, an organization that's okay with losing? No one's buying in because they know they want us to lose. Well, Shimon says, quote, "One thing I like so far about Bear signings is that they all come from winning organizations. Players who are used to winning bring a winning attitude and contribute to a winning culture," which I think absolutely is a very good point.
I'll tell you another thing. These are guys that you could tell from a pattern that they wanted to sign younger players that maybe are looking for their second contract. You know, these aren't players that are looking for their third contract or bounce around. These are guys that are around 24 to 27 years old. You know, unlike Danny said, played on winning programs, and that's from the pattern of signings over the past day or two. That's what Poles was going for. I mean, at least to me, reading between the lines, that's what it looks like.
I agree with you guys on that. I think that this looks like they're setting themselves up for the line. It's going to be either offensive or defensive line, in my opinion here.
Yeah.
What if Carter's sitting there?
That's what I was saying. I figured if he's there, they'll take him.
You think they're going to take him there?
If he's available, how could you not?
Well, I mean, I think, yes, it would be a bad pick, but with the signing of Walker, I think our Bears should lean at end, you know, because that's the position that's a little more thin.
I don't see the Lions letting us get that guy if they're ahead of us. I don't see.
Yeah, and they picked 6th now, I think.
Only way we get that guy is if we jump them somehow, move up. I don't see that really happening either, but it's possible. But I still wouldn't rule out if we didn't find the offensive lineman that we wanted at that spot, or maybe the defensive lineman that we wanted at that spot, that they don't get a premium corner, because those premium corners are there. They're off the board early.
Yeah.
Guys like Devin Witherspoon, and Gonzalez, who I really
Gonzalez
like.
on Oregon.
Yeah. I mean, he's the perfect guy for this system. Actually, both of them are, but I would give the edge to Gonzalez because he takes the ball away more.
They both got length, you know. They're both good cover guys. I couldn't remember his name right off the bat, but to top of mind, I mean, once Witherspoon opted out of Illinois' program for the latter part of the season, the Illini, man, their defense really fell off. I think they didn't perform as well as they had during the earlier part of the season.
Yeah.
Let's look at this draft here and just how many quarterbacks. So there's 8 picks before us. There has to be 3 quarterbacks coming off the board. What did you think before that?
Or 4.
So if it is, there's only 4 picks left before it gets to us.
Yeah, you
Right,
got to
so-
think maybe what's his name? Will Anderson's probably one of them picks.
what kind of defense does Arizona run? Well, they have a new coach now, so do we know yet? I mean,
I don't know what they'll be running.
Carter could go to Arizona. Will Anderson could go to Seattle, and then Detroit's stuck with.
I'll
not
tell you,
stuck
I'll
with
tell you,
anything, but
I'll tell you guys something that can fuck up the whole draft. And the more and more I think about it, I think it's more of a possibility because Carolina's in no rush to win. Houston is in no rush to win. They know they're rebuilding. They know it's going to be a while. And if there's any quarterback in that draft that you can take your time and develop, it's Anthony Richardson. If he goes number 1 to Carolina, they stay at that spot, and he goes to Carolina, it's probably going to alter everything.
Hey, real
You got
quick, this isn't
a lot of clay you can mold there, Nomad.
Yes,
this
sir.
isn't a premium update. Like I should be like, oh, this is breaking news, but it's breaking news. Minnesota
Is this more
Vikings
Andy Dalton
finalized.
talk?
Minnesota Vikings finalized 2-year, $22 million deal with Arizona cornerback Byron Murphy.
God damn.
Yeah, he's a good player. Speaking of the Vikings, they didn't re-sign Adam Thielen. This is a guy that, for a fourth wide receiver, I wouldn't mind having. The dude knows how to get open. It's tough too. I wouldn't mind having him on the Bears.
I thought that too.
Yeah, relatively cheap, but he's a great red zone wide receiver too, man. What do you think, Nomad? A 1 or 2 year deal, 2-year deal for Adam Thielen on the cheap?
Adam Thielen, I would think more of he's a glue guy.
Fourth
when it
wide
comes
receiver.
He would be a glue guy more than he's like what EQ is right now. You know what I mean? A guy that can kind of keep your unit together and kind of show some young guys how to go about being a professional and
Move
can
the
produce.
sticks.
Yeah, can produce a little bit on the field as well. So
Oh yeah.
no, he would. Anytime you can get a guy like that in your locker room and on your team for the right price, you don't say
Stick
no.
him in the wide receiver room with the younger guys.
You're better for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Thielen was their top target for how long? Until Jefferson came along and he took all that away from him. So you put him on the Bears, he'd be awesome on this team with the receiving group that we have. Absolutely.
You put him at a fourth wide receiver. The other guys are worried about Claypool, Moore, and Mooney, and here's Adam Thielen on the fourth defensive back. Moving the chains or corner of the end zone.
Keep it real. Let's keep it real. They love St. Brown. He's the fourth receiver, and then Velus Jones is your number 5.
Yeah. Yep.
And they still have Pringle.
Hey, you got to have guys that do certain things. EQ is a system guy, as well as Thielen.
And he's a great blocker. Yeah. But Thielen's a good blocker too, man.
He comes from the same system.
Yeah, exactly.
EQ is more of a special teams value than anything once you get Thielen on the team.
The Thielen played special teams for the longest time before he cracked the lineup.
Yeah. LT Traveler says I thought he was.
I'm just throwing it out there. The dude could make the team better. That's all I'm saying.
For sure.
I just like what we have, man. The guys that we have, the variety of the kinds of receivers that can do so many different things. It's just, I think it's not being talked about enough how dynamic our receiving core is. I think just because people haven't seen them in action together, seen that variety out and play, man, we don't know how dynamic we just became with these two guys in our offense now.
Yeah, and some people have been intimating that Claypool won't be happy now because of the DJ Moore acquisition. I mean, there's no way to say that that's true or not. I mean, I'm sure he has to have been discouraged by how poor his season was last year. So I think he'll come back motivated, trying to get a contract myself. And Mooney's playing for a contract too. So you got two guys that need to get paid. So they're going to be giving it their all.
Oh yeah. Mooney's the guy nobody wants to talk about. It's like he didn't exist, like Velus doesn't exist. You know what I mean? And like those guys can contribute big time in a whole bunch of different ways when you scheme them up right. It's like I don't forget, but the stuff that happened with Valus this year as a rookie, his errors, and this is Chicago. People don't forget shit. They make you live with it. You can't have any flaws here, or people will never forget that shit. But me, I know what else he can bring to the table. He's being slept on just because we got DJ Moore. I mean, they're kind of identical in the way they play the game, but DJ Moore is a lot more of a receiver, a traditional receiver than Valus is. But Valus can do similar things that he does. So it's going to be fun to watch these guys, how they scheme these guys up and how they play off of each other. And hopefully they don't get so to the point where, somebody starts crying about not having the ball. I don't want to see any of that stuff, man. Just wait till it comes to you and ball when you get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Velus Jones is going to learn a lot from DJ Moore. That's for sure.
It felt like a lot of times our guys weren't even open when Justin was running for his life. It's like nobody was up. There were a couple of times where you're like, just throw the ball. He was right there. You should have pulled the trigger. I get it. Could have been a screen pass or like a 4-yard out or a button hook, whatever. But most of the time there was nobody open. So it's like, with the acquisition of Moore, that's got to make it easier for the rest of the guys to get open. It just has to.
We're gonna find out real quick what these dudes can do together. What I imagine in my head is going to be a whole bunch of bunch formations, a whole bunch of movement from motion. It's going to be one time it's Valus, another time it's Mooney, other times it's going to be DJ Moore, and they're going to put them next to each other, those really fast guys, and really give the defense a problem to deal with. Because if those guys start streaking down the field in a zone, man, it's lights out if Justin can identify which one of these dudes has the advantage. And so that's gonna happen more times than not. That's a problem, man. So I just can't wait to see these guys be explosive.
What was Justin Fields? He admitted himself was his biggest shortcoming. Was the short pass? Well, the short passing game, right?
Yeah.
Gimme.
And so, what's DJ Moore is going to help him with that incredibly.
If there was one play last year to me that's like the epitome of Justin's struggles, like if you wanted to just isolate it, it's that throw to Griffin against Washington in the end zone. Now, maybe Griffin's not running hard enough. There were some people saying that wasn't his fault. Either way, that's a 3-yard completion. That's a touchdown. Most quarterbacks make that throw. That is the one Justin has to make. And I'm not being critical. If anyone ever listens to the show, they know I'm on this guy's fucking dick. So, but he's got to make that throw, and that's the one he missed. And like, if that's the negative of 22, that one play sums it all of the small amount of negatives that he has in his game.
You know what, Dan Aguirre? If you look at his Ohio State tape, it was very similar to what you're criticizing right now. He was a deep ball. He was so deep ball greedy. He didn't pay attention to a lot of the guys that were streaking across him underneath. His first looks were down the field. He wanted to make the big play. And so teaching the mind that, okay, that's cool, and that's what you should do. But at the same time, you can't overlook these gimmies in the NFL game that are right in front of you, and pass rushers are coming at you. You need to go ahead and drop this thing off and let these guys run. I think he's got that in his head now. I've heard him say it multiple times going into the offseason and during the offseason that he's got to work on that. And so I've never seen this guy do anything but fucking get better and better and better. And so I have no doubt in my mind this dude's going to be focused on that going into the offseason.
That pass that you're talking about, Dan, that seemed to me more of a miscue, just like one of those passes you let it come off your hand the wrong way, and as soon as it came off your hand, you were like, fuck, I overthrew that, as opposed to some of the other shorter pass errors that he had were just not as that pass almost seemed too easy, if you will.
Yeah. Well, the one that they need to just scrap and take out the offense is that bubble screen to Mooney. He never completes that one. It's always in the dirt. If Mooney does catch it, he gets hit immediately. They never get but like a yard, 2 max, and they run that play incessantly. But it seems like, now I don't have the stats in front of me, but it feels like Fields. I mean, they probably ran that play like 30 times in the season and got maybe 2 yards off of it at best. Like, I don't know why they continually tried that when Fields, like, that little throw that's on the border of being a lateral, he has a terrible time trying to complete that pass. It's always too low or too far ahead or too far back. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that play. It just never works.
That's more of the pass I'm talking about, though, as opposed to that touchdown pass, which just seemed like a fuck. I wish I could have that one back, whereas the other ones he seems to struggle more with.
And the Griffin guy truly wasn't running hard either, so it's twofold there. He overthrew him, plus the tight end isn't helping him any. Mm-hmm. So,
did you guys see Greg Gabriel's comment about? I think he was on his last show. I was watching but couldn't interact. But he said something about he was talking to Ryan Poles, and this is something he could talk about now because I guess it's okay and cool to talk about. But he said that he's talking to him and he was talking to him about receivers and what he was looking for before they got DJ Moore. I guess he probably knew that they were targeting him or something, but he said he was looking for a separator. And what that meant to me is a guy that can get easy separation and is easily identifiable, even in the short game, that you can dump that ball off to. And once he starts seeing that success of taking the short game and the short route, the little crosser, and that guy turns it into a 60-yarder, he's going to be more apt to want to make those throws. And so I see the mindset in targeting a DJ Moore. He's constantly getting separation. So I think it just bodes well for us.
100% agree. This is very exciting times, guys.
Let's see what the chat's talking about. Let's talk to those some bitches. What y'all talking about, motherfuckers? What y'all want to talk about, chat?
What do we have here? Iceberg says he's a great route runner.
Who?
We're talking about DJ Moore, so he must be talking about DJ.
Man, he is so goddamn smooth. I mean, it looks so effortless, and he's just constantly moving. He's so smooth. Even if a corner is off of him 5 to 7 yards, he breaks on that, and he's on that corner before you know it, and it's so smooth that the corner is kind of like, which way is this guy going? And everything looks the same. It doesn't really differ whether he's going to do a short route or a long route or a crossing route. Everything looks the same. And so he's a difficult guy to defend. Being a former defensive back, I look at him in his route running, and it's so quiet and smooth, it's hard to detect which way he's going to go. And so to me, he's just a difficult motherfucker to figure out, and he's quick out of his breaks. Let's just say you just assumed he was going to take a deep route, and okay, you're preparing your mind for a deep route. I'm ready to run with him. And next thing you know, he's coming out of his break, and it's so fast, you don't even have time to break down and get to him. So he is difficult to guard. He is really difficult to guard.
Jeremy Munoz, I think it's Jeremy Munoz in here in chat. Let's see, I saved this one. I've seen him in other chats before. He seems to be a little bit of a Bears hair on fire fan, saying that we got to do more. I've seen him say other things similar to this. Come on, Jeremy, if that's how you pronounce your name. Come on, man.
Jeremy.
This is a process.
Jeremy.
Yeah. Or it could be Jerome.
Yeah.
Jerome.
I know, man.
Nobody's named Jerome, Shorty.
Okay, so
Jerome. Fucking yeah.
Jerome.
For the past 50 years, the Bears have had to do more. It's the same story every offseason.
We're trying to be optimistic here, man. Come on.
We gotta get Jerome a super chat for that, man. Even butcher that man's name up like that.
I bet you that's how he pronounces it. Type your name phonetically, Jeremy. Is it Jeremy or Jerome?
No, y'all got to be patient, man. This guy he's not gonna run out there with that money and just go spend willy-nilly. Like a lot of the fans just see these big names that everybody's been talking about and repeating on Twitter, true. And they see these guys coming off the board and they feeling like, oh God, the Bears ain't doing what they need to do. Chill out, man. There are other guys out there, even guys that we don't know that are gonna be out there, and they see that are gonna hit the market based on salary cap reasons. Just chill out, man. They know what they're doing.
What do you all think if we would take a Detroit back since they took our back and maybe get Jamal Williams?
Yeah, there you go, Dan.
Wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't hate
Someone
it.
said that in the chat room. Is Jamal Williams available?
Yes.
Always
He
like
is.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind having him as he's a good goal line back.
that'd be a
Williams.
super good tit for tat, man. I would love that.
Hell
shit.
yeah. Hell yeah.
So would I.
Sign him.
Might as well.
Yep. Yeah.
No man that I want signed, and he would be the happiest man in America because he's been so bitter since getting released. Is go ahead and bring Robbie back. He was at the game, the Eagles game with the double doink, rooting for Philadelphia because he was so pissed about getting cut. He's finally free. He tried to come back once before, but San Francisco put the franchise tag on him, even though he was a place kicker. Just go ahead and bring Robbie back and cut Mr. Santos, and he can be afraid to kick 44-yard field goals elsewhere.
Tooch, do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
Write in the chat. Write in the chat for us. Do you trust polls now or no? Let's see what they do.
Do you trust
Because
polls
there was a
now?
lot of distrust of polls because of what happened in the offseason last year. He didn't really do shit. I want to have their feelings changed? I just want to know.
There it is. It's up there, Nomad.
I got one from Cliff. Yep. Nope.
Yep.
J-Rock. You know J-Rock hardcore, man.
I said
He's
it.
hardcore.
Bear state of affairs, man. I'm ready to ask Ryan Poles to marry me. Nomad.
You're ready for Ryan? You're ready for Ryan Poles' poll?
I'm like the four players we agreed to terms with, man. I'm like, it's like Christmas for me, man.
Okay, Tooch, one more question.
Yes, sir.
Should
DJ
we let
Moore, so
Poles-
5 players.
Should we be patient and let polls cook? Yes or no?
After this weekend and the past few days, absolutely.
Put that in there. Let's see what they say.
Yeah.
I've got 7-2. 7 yes to 2 no's.
I'm telling Tooch to do it. I can do it myself, but Shorty hooked me up. Shorty hooked me up with the 1s and 2s. I'm a DJ and shit, but don't even know I'm a DJ.
You just gotta learn when to cook. When the
Yep.
time to cook is.
Let
Yeah.
him cook. Muck say let him cook. They all saying let him cook, and I'm patient, man. I know that he's not jumping out there with that money, and I enjoy the fact that he isn't, because I know there are a lot of names that are gonna come loose later on when everybody starts getting their little money and the money starts kind of dwindling on these guys' salary caps. Gonna be a lot of value at the end of this.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping for this exact strategy. I didn't want to see him go breaking the bank with huge signings. Not that this free agency really had one other than Payne that was, franchise and now signed a big contract. But there really wasn't. If they would have paid $100 million to Tremaine Edmonds, that would have been like, But for $72 million, yeah, let's do it. So there hasn't been this kind of free agency where there's like a Julius Peppers or like if what's his name from the Browns would have been in free agency this year, the defensive end, what's his name? Help me out here. The superstar defensive end, somebody like that,
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett. Thank you. So the fact that he hasn't broken the bank, he's signed very good, if not great value players to this team. Some of them, Tremaine Edmonds, 24 years old, going on 25 this May. Holy shit. That's like somebody we just drafted out of college and he's got 5 years of experience. So I'm excited, man. This is definitely a yes for me with Ryan Poles, for sure.
Let me ask everybody. Dan Aguirre, who of the names that you know of that you would have loved to see on this team, just give me one name that we missed.
Oh, we've missed so far?
Yeah.
No one specific. I don't guess. And just vaguely, and I know you're wanting specificity, but vaguely, just more offensive line help is what I would like. Again, I'm pounding a drum. I think that's what the Bears have been just cavalier about too long. Like I like this guy, Kansas City. I mentioned him earlier, Jawan Taylor. the tackle from Jacksonville. He started 17 games last year, only allowed 5 sacks. He was given a 4-year, $80 million deal with Kansas City. That's somebody I would want like a guy that's potentially going to make the Pro Bowl for you and immediately become your best lineman.
That was the guy I was going to name, Danny. I
think that would be damn near unanimous in the chat too.
Yeah,
a lot of people wanted that guy right there. What about you, Short?
But there's something else that I heard floating around too, that Laramie Tunsil, that the Texans want to trade him.
Man, how real is that though?
I don't know, but I heard it from a pretty reliable friend who usually is correct on this stuff. Swap 9 and 12 with them and pick up Tunsil.
People don't want to really let go of great tackles. He's a great offensive left guard, man. I mean, left tackle. I don't know. It could be.
He's been traded once.
Yeah.
What would that mean for? Would you guys be happy with that? What would that mean for Braxton Jones? And would you prefer Tunsil over Braxton Jones? I think I know how you feel, Tooch.
I like Braxton Jones, man. I think a lot of potential there.
I think we ought to listen to the words that they say and just really keep that in mind as you see this play out. We're going to build through the draft. And one thing I noticed about when Ryan Poles was being interviewed, he did the media gauntlet for about a couple of days, or at least a day. He went everywhere, and it was pretty much common every time he went on there. He mentioned that, one thing about the Super Bowl teams is that you notice is that they had it right in the trenches, in the front, in their defensive fronts and their offensive fronts. And that's how they got there. And so you compare that. I mean, you add that to what he says about we're going to build through the draft. And that tells me that we may not be able to get the offensive lineman that we want at the price we want in free agency. Therefore, we'll build that in the draft. And so that's the way I read that. Other people may feel different, but that's the way I read it.
And
I'm sorry. Were you throwing that to me? Your comment cut out.
Yeah, let's throw that to you.
Well, no, I can't disagree with anything Nomad's saying there. I mean, and it seems completely plausible based upon the lack of signings thus far on the offensive line. Although, of course, they signed the gentleman from Tennessee. So maybe there's more to come. But like you said, maybe they feel like they're going to go young and in the draft and go that way. So, I mean, that's obviously could be their tactic.
Rumors have been really, really strong that they are really bidding for Orlando. What is his name? Orlando Brown
Jr.
I think there's some fire under that smoke there. It's about getting them at the right price, though.
Now, let's say hypothetically he would sign, is he playing left or right?
Based on, if you listen to, who was that, Ian Rappaport saying that that he hasn't been signed because the league sees him as a right tackle, and he doesn't see himself as a right tackle. He sees himself as a left because that's where people get money. I want to be paid like a left tackle. Pay him like a left tackle and put him on the right.
Yeah.
That's the way I see that. But maybe they're waiting until the end, until the last offer is made, and he's making his decision and saying, okay, we'll give it to you. But this is left tackle money, but we want you on the right to help us out. I don't know.
I would be happy if they signed.
His dad played left tackle. So.
Well, if they signed him, and then, like I said, I'm an advocate of bringing Robbie back. If you could get and then solidify your kicking spot with a guy that wants to be here and knows how to kick at Soldier Field, and I think that that would be great free agency.
Hold on, Dan Aguirre.
How many more years do you think Robbie Gould has left?
Dan Aguirre's got a number 9 Robbie Gould jersey, don't you?
No. I thought Robbie was a loudmouth, and at the time he deserved to be cut. He was missing game-winning kicks over and over. He compared himself to Michael Jordan, for God's sake. I mean, He's just like I forget which game it was when someone told him to shut the fuck up on the sideline and you're just a kicker. You don't call the plays. But I mean, the guy has been playing well ever since the Bears cut him. Even his year with the Giants was okay. And he wants to come back. He's like he still lives in the city. He like desperately wants to be here. And anything at this point to me, and I liked Santos because he's making all those 45-yard kicks. He made like 40 in a row. But when you got a guy on the sidelines that says, I don't know, coach, it's a little windy. I don't think I can try this 40-yard field goal. I mean, Robbie at the very least is like, I'll go for 60. Yeah. He might not make it, but he wants to kick everything. And Santos is standing there afraid, like, nah, we better go ahead and try to get a punt, and then we'll get about 7 yards net on the fucking punt. It's just like, man, you got a guy that wants to be here and a guy that's afraid to be here who's stealing money at this point.
Okay, if you had your choice, Dan Aguirre, and you had these, and the chat can answer this question too. You had the choice between Robbie Gould and what's his name, Leonard Floyd, to come back to Chicago. Which guy would you choose?
I never disliked Leonard. I thought the Bears just didn't know what they had when he was so lean, and I don't know. I just felt like they just didn't use him right in his first run. But to answer your question, I'm going with Robbie.
Really?
Yeah, I think I like the linebackers they have now, like you said. And I've been. It took me a while to come around on Sanborn because I was like, he's just one of those guys because they loved Urlacher and he's white. It's like, so we love him too because he reminds us of 54. He's just a guy who's undrafted. He's like Rudy, but no, man, he proved a little bit that, especially when he got hurt, the defense was even more just decimated. So I think I didn't give him enough credit. And you got the two acquisitions. I mean, maybe you got a good linebacking core already. You got to upgrade at kicker, even if it's not Robbie. Even if you draft somebody else, you got to get rid of Santos.
I mean, we don't even have a defensive lineman that knows the fragrance of a quarterback. And you want to get Robbie Gould?
Yeah, because you need a kicker, man. Like you saw in 2018, the Bears, everyone thinks could have gone to the Super Bowl that year, and we ignored kicker. And when he had 4 kicks hit the upright in week 10 against Detroit, and they didn't do shit about it. He missed a game-winning kick in the sunshine in Miami, and he had played there the year before. They didn't give a shit about it. They kept his sorry ass on the team, and then he missed that kick in the playoffs and cost us in 2018 being Mr. Parkey. So, yeah, I think kicker's important. So, and Robbie wants to be here. That's the thing, man. The dude has been looking at us like his ex-girlfriend. He used to come at us all the time. He wants to fuck us again. We're the girl he jacks off thinking about at night when he's alone. And he wants to be back here. He wants to fuck us again, is what I'm saying in my analogy.
Hey, you know what? I'm dying on that Leonard Floyd hill. Fuck that, man. Dude, we need somebody that he is way better than he was when he left here.
Oh, I agree with you. But I just think, are they going to sign 3 linebackers in the same free agency period? I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. I just think that they'll go with Sanborn as the third.
He's a DN. He's a DN.
He's playing in the 4-3 as a defensive end. Okay, I thought we were still going to keep him as a linebacker. My bad.
No, he's got to put his hands in the dirt, which he's not used to. But yeah, he's dude. Robbie Gould. I'm not. Go ahead.
No, Robbie Gould is 40 years old. That's the banner I just had up. So if we go to the comments, Robbie Gould is 40 years old, and then Michael Henneman says, if you just go back and forth, enough about kickers. Robbie Gould is 40 years old. Enough about kickers.
Okay, all right, that's fine. You might not want Robbie. That's fine, but you can't say enough about kickers when we had the one guy single-handedly derail our fucking Super Bowl team in 2018.
No, I'm saying we should.
You can't just. We ignored kicker in 2018, and what did we get? Cody fucking Parkey.
Robbie Gould is wearing orthopedic shoes already, man.
Hey, ask Aaron Rodgers about Robbie Gould in the fucking cold at Lambeau Field kicking his ass out of the playoffs, which was great.
Scott,
Well-
breaking news. Chicago Bears sign Russell Westbrook and are in talks with Scottie Pippen. Stay
Man, I
tuned
want
for
whatever
the
D
minutes.
Hines is smoking. He's got some Aldo stash.
This dude has been trolling Bears chats for a week. I've seen this dude just constantly doing this, man. Constantly.
Oh, that's a good one though.
But really, legitimately, if you want to be really objective about what Matt Eberflus likes in defensive ends, he likes long, lean, fast defensive ends. And guess what? Leonard Floyd is that. He can get to the quarterback now.
Can I just complete the kicker talk? I do agree with you, Dan, that we do need a new kicker. It's not Robbie Gould. Maybe we can get one in, one of these kickers from this year. What's the guy from Michigan's pretty good? He's kicked a couple of 60+ yarders. Someone like that. That's what
Well, again, the reason I say Robbie, because Robbie wants to be here. He didn't want to leave to begin with. And he knows the field, man. He knows so many kickers whine about the wind and this and that and the other, the shitty grass. Like Robbie, but Robbie embraces all of that and loves Soldier Field. And he isn't going to be one of these kickers that doesn't go to Soldier Field when he's practicing during the week because there's too much traffic. Remember that talk a couple of years ago? It's too hard to get down there. That's why I only practice at Lake Forest. That's some shit that Parkey was saying, if you all don't remember. Yeah. Like Robbie knows the fucking field and wants to be here. I mean, you can't devalue that or underestimate how much he loves the organization and is used to the field, man. And we saw is still kicking game-winning field goals in clutch situations, especially knocking the Packers out of the playoffs. And NBC Sports Chicago posted an article a week ago, and he said, yeah, I'm 40, but I'm nowhere near retiring. And he's still productive. Look at his stats.
To Dan's conversation about kickers, this is off of Robbie Gould for a second. One thing I noted last year is that we used the draft pick on a punter, our starting punter. Is it fathomable, guys, in chat, that we may draft a kicker?
We did Paul Ettinger in 2000, and I thought Paul was very underrated and kicked for us for 5 years and was just allowed to go to Minnesota just because Lovey didn't like him personally or whatever the story was at the time. I thought Ettinger was solid. Like I said, he never missed a game-winning kick for the Bears or Minnesota for that matter. Never missed a game-winning kick in his career, and we drafted him, I think, in the 5th round in 2000. So, I mean, it's plausible. I'm just saying you got to upgrade over Cairo and Robbie. Robbie's long. Fuck, man. Someone said, what's Robbie's long there? I think that was retro. What's fucking Cairo's long? Oh, it's a little windy, 44. I can't try that. No. I mean, Robbie's still busting out 50-yarders. So, I mean, I mean, if you all want to think you're so opposed to Robbie, that's fine. But I don't know why, given the fact that he's used to Soldier Field. And I mean, do you not remember him knocking Green Bay out of the playoffs last year, too? God, I mean, the guy still got it.
Jake Moody. Thank you, Foster Covers. Jake Moody in the 6th round, maybe 7th.
Talking about Robbie Gould, other than that motherfucker's about to collect Social Security and shit. You know what I mean? He still can kick it. He can still kick a ball and get you out of games with a win. No question about that. All bullshit aside, I'm joking, but the guy still is valuable as a kicker. No question about that. Will they bring him back the way that Eberflus thinks about and Poles thinks about the legacy of Chicago? I think they want to right some of the wrongs and heal some of the wounds that didn't. We got to a Super Bowl in the same system and the same style of defense. We didn't get it done. What would it look like if we had Robbie Gould here again?
The chat room is playing all the old hits, Shorty. Todd Sauerbrunn, Robbie Gould.
Todd Sauerbrunn was terrible.
Bring back
Paul Ettinger.
I'm just rolling with Dan, man. I'm trying to keep it going.
Robbie's still making kicks. Robbie's still making kicks. That's the thing I don't mean to talk over. I got to go anyway. But Robbie's still making kicks. That's the thing, and wants to be here. And so many kickers have viewed the variables in Chicago, whether it be the wind or the grass and all these things at Soldier Field. It's a difficult place to kick, and you got a guy who loves kicking there. I mean, you can't undersell that. A guy that knows the field, that loves kicking there.
Dan, you ever had a homeboy buddy that you was hanging out with in high school and college, and every fucking time y'all saw each other, you had a good fucking time. You went out and you just tore up wherever you was at. You just had a great fucking time.
Sure.
And then you didn't see each other for years. Next thing you know, you catch up with each other after a while. Like, hey man, I've been wanting to catch up. Hey, let's hook up. Let's go out. Let's do this or that. Next thing you know, he's a fucking dad with a whole bunch of kids, and he ain't no fucking fun no more.
I get your analogy, and maybe you're right. At the very least, they have to upgrade over Santos. So, and that's an important thing. And if you don't think so, like I said, see the Eagles playoff game.
Yeah.
Adrian Amos is a free agent too, Dan.
I don't want to bring that traitor back. Fuck him. He appeared on the Ballroom Network too. So, but I'll still say, fuck.
What about his brother Terrell?
Let's bring back Eddie Pinheiro.
You are talking over each other. I still, everyone's talking over each other. I can't hear you.
All right, hold on. I'm going to say Tremaine Edmonds' brother, Terrell Edmonds, is a free agent.
Oh, well, we had Khalil Mack's brother at one point. We had Brian Urlacher's brother at one point. We never signed Eddie Payton, though. I'll say that. But usually the kid brother is not as good.
Everyone agrees with Dan about Adrian Amos in the chat room.
Yeah, he talked a lot of shit when he's in Green Bay about the Bears, too. That's another thing. It's like, you know, he really, really embraced being a Packer, so I hope he doesn't have a job anywhere.
Yeah, fuck him.
Breaking news,
go work at fucking Walmart, you bastard.
D. Hines, I think that's Don Burr fucking around. But D. Hines, breaking news, Rick James never snorted a line of coke.
St. Omni wonders if Sam Mustafer has a brother.
Oh, God. Well, we got the St. Brown brother, just not the right one.
Right.
Yeah.
But guys, it's been fun. It's been great. I'm glad we did the show, and but I got to go to work,
Danny.
Unfortunately.
Yep. Go save some lives.
Thank you. You all have a great night. It's been fun, for real.
Peace out, brother.
All right, guys. Be well, all of you.
Later.
You too. Have a good night.
Yeah, one of the someone said, get one of the Grammatica brothers, not the one that broke his leg jumping up and down.
Let's bring back fucking Eddie Pinheiro.
Dan is he's such a fucking historian, man. I love that shit about him, man. I mean, truthfully, we could fucking use Robbie Gould if we didn't end up with a kicker, but I doubt it ever happens. You know, it's just
True.
man.
I would take Robbie Gould for a year or two as like a bridge kicker to a new kicker.
or if you're a playoff team, you sign a guy like Robbie Gould just to make the kicks, the crucial kicks.
Just to get off the subject for a second, there's a guy in free agency nobody's talking about. That's not a great pass rusher, but he's a really good edge setter. It's fucking Shaq Lawson, and he fits mold.
I was about to bring him up, my man. Because I was like, when you brought Leonard Floyd, I'm like, man, aside from there really isn't much else out there besides Leonard Floyd and Shaq Lawson, to be honest.
He's out there.
Yeah.
He fits. He's not he's not gonna get you no hell of a sack numbers, but
yeah,
I hate
he's
to interrupt
solid
you,
though, man.
Let me interrupt you for a second. I'm just realizing that I'm connected with an Ethernet cable, but I'm seeing a Wi-Fi bar going up and down like I have a shitty connection. So let me hop out here really quick and let you take over here, Tooch. I'll be right back. I'm going to get this thing, make sure that it's wired to my Ethernet cable. That's probably the problem I've been having all night. I'll be right back.
All right. So it's me and Nomad.
Let's just talk to the chat.
All right. Go ahead. Ask him a question. Or you want the chat to ask us some questions, Nomad?
Yeah. Let's just do
What
that.
do you think? All right,
Well,
hold on a second. I'm going to get the Nomad overlay. All right, there we go. It's a Nomad up here now for a second.
I haven't lifted weights in a week. I don't quite look like that today.
Right, but close, right?
Kind of
Nomad?
nearby. We're in the neighborhood.
Yeah, all right. I got to ask you, Nomad. Bijan Robinson, you probably have a second round grade on him or something. But do you think he's going to make it out of the first? In all reality, somebody's going to take him, whether it's the 32nd pick in the first round or somewhere around 20. He's not going to fall out of the first round, right?
How many free agent running backs did you see get taken off the board in free agency?
A lot, including Josh Jacobs, Quan Barkley, two guys that we wouldn't mind having here now that Montgomery's gone.
No, they were tagged. I'm talking about the guys that actually hit free agency.
All right. Well, you said, not taken off the board. That to me means they're not available for us. But there's
David Montgomery was the first one, I believe.
Montgomery was the first one that signed. Yep.
I believe.
You got other ones are. The other ones are kind of like guys that were like former 49ers, like Mostert and Wilson. That's like that. They just re-signed with their teams, basically.
Tooch is the most unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
That running backs,
Tony
linebackers. Yeah. Running backs, linebackers.
Yep.
For some
respect.
Reason, no. They fall in the draft, and that shit's unfortunate because you got some really good. They just don't want to pay them because there's so many of them. And so why would you draft a guy unless he's got some kind of Walter Payton or fucking Adrian Peterson type qualities? He's a good running back. I'm not taking anything from him, but at number 9, there ain't no fucking way I'm drafting him. Not me, but it's not my draft pick. I don't see them doing it.
Yeah. Yep. And this draft, it's a good draft for running backs. There's a lot of talent out there in this draft at running back. Tight end is deep. I'll bet you anything the Bears are going to draft another tight end.
Depends on where.
Yeah, late round, not early. But there are the tight ends. A lot of good ones in this draft.
Like if they can get somebody like a Dalton Kincaid, or there's guys all in and out of that draft. People have their favorites. Chat has their favorites. Laporta, so you see that name up there.
Yeah,
but Cameron McDonald is a guy that's going to get drafted late from Florida State. Has a lot of great traits to him, but people don't talk about him because they don't study him. But
there's some sleepers too. The Old Dominion kid, I forget, like Zach Hintz or something. His name, dude's got some good measurables. You got the big guys like the Georgia and the Notre Dame kids. Shit. Yeah, what's the Georgia kid, Nomad?
Big his last name is
tight
Washington.
End. Yeah.
Darnell Washington, I believe.
Darnell Washington.
Why'd you say that without Mr. Shorty on the show? He's probably somewhere beaten now because
he loves that guy. Is that his guy? Zach Kuntz is the guy's name on
right now.
Zach Kuntz is J2K's guy. That's the Old Dominion kid, I think. Was a combine star.
I've seen so many tight ends, studied so many of them. I think that's the guy, the Jack from the Jackrabbits. He's a pretty big kid.
South Dakota State. There's a kid, from South Dakota State. Yep. Yeah. Payne Durham is a guy that the Bears have been talking to. That's a Purdue kid.
Now, I can see them drafting a guy that is not traditional tight end. One of those tight ends, maybe a U-back that can line up as a fullback and really plow some shit open for a running back, but still can catch passes in the passing game. So there's a guy, he's not clear to me, but I know I've seen him. I think he was a Jackrabbit. I can't remember what school.
South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
Yeah. Okay, so he would be a guy like that, one of those guys like the fullback
Bunnies.
from the Ravens. Huh?
The Bunnies, the Jackrabbits, South Dakota State.
Oh, yeah. He's dynamic and versatile. That's what coaches like.
Yep.
Guys that can do multiple things.
Tight end out there. Someone said Darren Waller was traded to the New York Giants.
Oh, yeah. That was earlier today.
If you're looking at signing a guy, there ain't much out there. Mike Gesicki's a guy that's kind of more like a wide receiver than a tight end. That might fit in. Dalton Schultz is kind of the top guy out there. He's still available. But, you got Cole Met still.
You need a guy that's opposite, that does the opposite
Yeah.
of what Cole Kmet can do.
Yep.
Cole Kmet, he's a straight line runner and
Yep.
he's physical.
Not a lot of wiggle.
No, not now. You need a guy that can be dynamic, that can really get guys off of Cole Kmet. So.
Yeah, the Raiders, Darren Waller, they traded him to the Giants. And speaking of Raiders, I think they signed Jimmy Garoppolo today to be the quarterback.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. Some of these the signings that are going to come now, there's going to be some really, really, really fucking good players that get signed for not a lot of money. They're really good players. They're not the big names that everybody's looking at and been watching for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
But they are going to really contribute to teams in a big way. And do not underestimate what these guys can do later on in free agency. I'm telling you.
Yep. No, if we're talking running back to the I think the Bears, I mean, they just signed Travis Homer. So right now you're looking at Khalil Herbert and Travis Homer, Tresson Ebner as guys that are on the team right now. I think Darrington Evans, he's probably still on the team, right? Running back.
Probably not now.
Yeah, maybe not now, but I think he's still rostered, isn't he? Let's see.
Yeah, he'll be there until probably June or something like that, and then they'll let him go.
Bears haven't updated the website because Demo's still on the roster.
You looking at the website right now?
Chicago Bears website. But Bears have 3 tight ends rostered on so Ryan Griffin, Cole Kmet, and Trayvon Wesco, and then Chase Allen on the practice squad and Jake Tongus on the practice squad.
Bet all your money Ryan Griffin is the first one to go.
Yeah.
He made a lot of mistakes. He was getting penalties, not catching balls.
Yep.
If they sign a tight end, he'll be the first one off.
Yeah, unless like Tongus or Allen are gonna, make some kind of or Trayvon Wesco, I know people are high on him too. Unless they make some strides, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears take a flyer on one of those tight ends or stuck up. But I guarantee you, this draft is so deep at running back, man. You could get guys in the later round. I know you like the Tulane kid, and then the TCU kid, Nomad, are 2 guys that we both like to see on the Bears, right?
Kendre Miller.
That's your favorite guy, running back.
Kendre Miller, I think, is going to be.
Am I right?
He's going to be Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. I love this kid too.
He's going to tear it up.
Yep.
He's just got those kind of features to his game. He's just going to rip he's going to rip on whatever team he gets picked on, man. I'm telling you, that's going to be the guy. And Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a guy, and Devon Achane is going to be a guy. No matter what team they go on, they're going to fucking rip. It's because that's the way they're built.
I love Kendre Miller, man. I'll tell you. I like to have him in a Bears uniform.
Tajay Spears, too. That's right.
Tajay Spears. That's a Tulane kid.
That's true.
Right?
There's some special fucking running backs. Deuce Vaughn is going to be – he is going to rip depending on what team he goes on. If he gets the opportunity, he's going to – small doesn't mean not big. You know what I mean? He's small in height, but that dude is big. He plays. I mean, he's only like 180 something pounds, if that. But my God, that dude is he just gets it done.
Mr. Shorty's back.
Sorry about that.
Do we have to do this one? No, that won't work. What's the?
You can swap me. Let's go the other way.
I'm just trying to. So, like, what's the one for? How do you get that?
Just like that. Then I can go like that. No, that doesn't work.
How do you? We got to be like this, I think, right? No. Isn't there another one for? Let's see.
That's all we have is a big nomad, huh?
I know. Don't we have any little nomads?
I can upload it.
Where's the green nomad at, man? Where's the name Nomad and Green that you did, Short?
Yeah, let me pull that up. Hold on a second. I have to find that. Hold on.
Yeah, where is that?
I don't know who thought of doing this. Is all those shit in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like Beetlejuice and shit. Small ass head.
Let's see. Is this? Here we go. I got it.
I'm talking
You
about
got
the
it?
green one that you made.
Yeah, right here. I got it. There you go.
No, this the
There it
name.
is.
though.
There we go. All right, that'll work.
The
Yeah,
first
good,
one
okay.
you made, Shorty.
Is there another one? too?
That's the one I like. The first one you made.
very first one. Let me see if I can find that one.
Where's your After Hours logo?
After
Can
hours.
we throw that
That's
up
where
there?
we at. We after hours, ain't we?
I have to apologize. I've been connected to Ethernet for however as long as I can remember for the last several weeks, and I've been noticing the connection has been crappy on my end all night, and you guys mentioned it too. And then I realized I was on Wi-Fi. I'm like, what the hell? And then I jumped out and I couldn't connect it with the Ethernet, so I'm back on Wi-Fi. So I hope it works.
Damn, we just went back to the 60s.
Let me see. This one.
Hot tub time machine on the bar room.
Let's see that one. And
Aldo phoned in a comment, about the past couple days. I'm gonna play it for you.
I think there is a slimmer of hope.
He's very happy about the Bears acquisitions.
You got that right on top of you, man.
yeah, that's another one. It kind of works. Let me see if I have another one.
Like snot dripping down.
That was the best one to me, man.
It's not. You're
If
getting
you just
struck
get it
by
off
green lightning.
Get it off your head a little bit.
Go
Well,
green
'cause
lightning.
I had designed them all to be to take up the entire window that I'm in. Let's
Yeah.
try this one.
Yeah, that's good. Nomad on your shoulder.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
It looks like I'm nomad now, though, but you get it.
I don't
might
think
have
they give
another
a fuck. I don't think they give a fuck.
Where's the what do they call it? Like the ones that have our our names below our names.
That's about as good as I can do for you guys. That or it's going to be that one.
Let's go with that one.
This one? Yeah.
No, the other one.
The other one?
Yeah.
I just
That's it.
kind of
Yep.
hide over here.
Do
like
that.
this.
Yeah. You get a little green lightning.
It's cool.
I'm gonna
boogers
piss
hanging
the
from my
chat off.
nose.
I'm gonna piss the chat off. I'm gonna say something that's an absolute fact. Miles Sanders is a much better fit in this offensive scheme than David Montgomery. Anybody disagree with me? Go ahead and tell me.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I mean, Montgomery was a hell of a pass blocker. Sanders, I don't know if he's as good as Montgomery in pass blocking, but I'm not going to disagree with you on whether it's running skills or catching the ball in the backfield or long speed. He had a little more long speed than Demo.
That guy, let me tell you something. Just watch the tape. Just really study the tape if you really want to know. Miles Sanders really, really does fit this. I don't know if they're going to sign him or not, but if they were to sign another running back free agent that's out there, he would be one that I'd target because he does this better than David Montgomery could because he's more explosive. The acceleration button he has on him is much more explosive than David Montgomery, and it's apparently what they're looking for. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up here for the right amount of money. Maybe he's testing free agency to see what he can get, but I'd be willing to say that they may have something on the table for him. He's to me, he's not Saquon Barkley per se, but he has Saquon Barkley kinds of abilities. Saquon Barkley is not that much of a separation between him and Miles Sanders. It's just not that much. People may disagree with that, but that's the truth.
I agree.
I really don't know what I think about that. because I watched both of them play for the same college, and I remember thinking Saquon Barkley was a hell of a lot better than Miles Sanders, but in the NFL, Miles Sanders has been better than Saquon Barkley, really, hasn't he? Because he's played more. So
Yeah, Miles
That's
Sanders
fair.
also a great pass blocker, according to James Hunter. Okay.
I agree with somebody in there that said that James, what is his name? Jamal Williams, he's a red zone monster. Yes,
Oh,
he
yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah.
I just love his style anyway. I mean, Kareem Hunt, I love his fucking style, but they're not home run hitters.
Yep.
So if you sign one of those guys, they have to be at the right value, and they're not going to be your lead backs. I don't think.
Yeah. I don't mind you getting down on the goal line. You got Jamal Williams and Justin Fields to think about, you know? Right?
I'd be honest with you. I like Kareem Hunt more than I like him. Be honest with you. Kareem
Both,
Hunt,
yeah, another great goal line back.
he's a problem. I've seen
Oh,
that dude is from the waist down. He's a fucking what was those big horses with the hairy heels, Clydesdale. He's hell. You don't want to tackle that.
Yeah.
You don't want to tackle that.
Yep. Yeah, I still think well, we don't really have anybody that's going to be the pass blocker of a Miles Sanders or David Montgomery now, you know, now that Montgomery's gone. So maybe Sanders is a good fit for the Bears.
You know who's a hell of a good underrated pass blocker, but you wouldn't imagine? Fucking Austin Eckler.
I
That
love
little
him.
bastard will light a charge into you.
Oh, yeah.
Another little guy that'll do it to you. It's a little guy from the little running back number 1 from Kansas City.
Jarrett McKinnon.
He'll light.
That was the guy I was gonna mention. Yep. Who do you think the best pass blocking running back is? Got potential maybe in the draft.
In the draft. I seen. Let me think about that.
That's a good question.
Well, it's great.
Sure
I mean,
Chad has
they don't always come out of college as good pass blockers, man. It's
right.
It's
They're
not common.
glowing pass block prospects.
This is gonna sound weird to you because he's a smaller guy, but the little running back number 34 from Syracuse. Can't think of his. I think his last name is Tucker. But he'll light a charge into your ass, for sure. What is it?
J2K got a name here, Eric Gray.
Eric Gray, I didn't see much in his pass sets, but he could be right. I didn't study much of him anyway. I saw limited amounts of Eric Gray, so J2K could know something I don't. But from the guy, Sean Tucker's his name from
Sean
Syracuse.
Tucker. Yeah, good player.
Don't sleep on that guy.
Eckler, this is what I was gonna say, man. Eckler, low key, probably the strongest running back, pound for pound, man. The dude's like tough as shit. Austin Eckler, he's like a piece of iron, man.
I love that guy, man.
So do I, man.
The way he plays the game.
Yeah, I love his game too.
He's tough, man. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's not when we talking about the best pass blocker, it's not really a competition. It's really about who's more willing to do it, because there's no technique to it. It's just, are you willing to stamp that 225, 35-pound linebacker that's screaming down this gap on you or not? Are you willing to do that? Some are timid and some are not. The guys that are less timid, the one that I saw that stuck out was Sean Tucker. That's the one guy that I saw that stuck out.
Sean Tucker as a pass blocker?
Syracuse, yeah. He'll give it to you. He get ran over a few times, but he ain't willing to get in there.
Yeah, Syracuse was off to a pretty good start in college football this past season till the quarterback got hurt. But a quarterback also a pretty good athlete too. I forget his name, but a good runner and passer.
They've got a bunch of dudes on that team that fit what we do. A bunch of dudes from corners to linebackers, safeties, their running back. There's even I want to say is a D tackle that would fit what we do too, but I'm not sure. I believe he's with Syracuse. but they have a lot of guys that play the zone scheme that we play on defense that really fit.
So Jimmy throwing up a name for you, Nomad. Damian Harris, former Alabama running back who was drafted by the Patriots. What do you think about Damian Harris?
Would not surprise me if they picked him up. My question would be is what happened with him that he got beat out by a guy that wasn't even drafted?
Ramondre Stevenson, right? That the guy you're talking about?
I don't know if
beat
it
him
was
out.
Andre Stevenson. My question about him would be what's going on with you? How this dude beat you out? Did you have some injuries that were going on that weren't being discussed? I'd be interested in his injury history. Other than that, damn right, bring him and put him on the team.
Got former Bears and Lions tight end Jesse James in the chat room. He's throwing out a name, UCLA running back Zach Charbonnet.
He's got the build to pass block. I don't know when I watched him play that I seen that stick out. I think that's what everybody's gonna ask about any running back since David Montgomery's gone. Is he a pass protector? Can he tell you? Every last one of them can. Will they though?
I thought New England would make a run at Montgomery, to be honest with you. It seems to be the type of runner that Bill Belichick loves, you know.
I thought it'd be Buffalo.
Yeah, or Buffalo. Yeah, another good spot. So, Nomad, I'm going to take a guess here. And I'm going to guess that the chat room wants to know what we think the Bears would do at pick number 9. Like, and who are the players that Nomad likes at 9 for the Bears? Let's start there.
If we're gonna
whatever you want. You want to
who would be in that bucket? Who would be in that bucket?
Yeah,
for
who's
the Bears?
who's going to be in that? Who's going to be in that bubble of players or cloud of players that are going to be around there? Like, say, you know, a Tyree Wilson or a Peter Skoronski or Paris Johnson, somewhere. One of those guys. What are you thinking?
And I'm gonna base this answer off of. Okay, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna base this answer off of what I've seen so far and what they've gotten in free agency. It was going to be either Paris Johnson Jr., Carter Warren from Pittsburgh, offensive lineman that can play both sides, Tyree Wilson, one of the corners from either Illinois or Oregon.
Yep.
Jalen Carter.
Yep.
Or Darnell Wright from Tennessee. One of those guys.
Offensive tackle, right? Love him. Yeah. How about trading back, Nomad? Could you see Ryan Poles? You can't rule it out because the dude loves to trade, man. Right?
I don't know, man. Hang on 1 second. You guys talk for a second. I got a little issue.
It's just me. I'm the only one here.
Just talk to the chat for a second, Tooch.
All right. All right, chat. Hit me with something. Witherspoon, Illinois. Love him. I already mentioned him. Yep. Let's go J2K. Give me who do you want at 9? Let's see. So J-Rock says Poles and Floose. Scout and Skoronski today. Would a chat room be happy with the Peter Skoronski, Northwestern offensive tackle? Jimmy wants to see Christian Gonzalez. Yeah, I'm there with you, dude. That dude's a player. I don't mind cornerback. Like I said, it's a premium position. Thing is that the Bears are so thin at thanks, J2K. Bears are so thin at defensive end, man. You know, triple R, man. Like I said, man, you can't rule it out with fucking Poles. You know, like I said last week. Yeah,
what if they get the offensive lineman that they covet at 9 that to really start building in the trenches like they say they were going to do?
So let me ask you a question, Nomad. Let's say they do take an offensive tackle. I'm sure that there are probably some guys who fit the Bears' defensive scheme at defensive end later in the draft. But could you see him signing a free agent defensive end? I know you mentioned Leonard Floyd. And like I said, he's probably the best out there. What about Yannick Ngakoue? That'd be fun for Aldo to try and pronounce his name every week. But what do you think about him?
He's a great possibility. Also, a great possibility they could be waiting on to see what happens with him is Zadarius Smith from Minnesota, who's pretty much in a teardown. So yeah, it wouldn't be surprising to me if they targeted either one of those two guys because they are fits. Maybe Zadarius Smith more so than Ngakoue, but yeah, both of those guys would come in handy, and maybe they're just waiting to see what happens with both of those players. Maybe they can get them cheaper than they thought they could.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say that they go edge rusher, maybe at Tyree Wilson at 9, or Will Anderson. I think Anderson will probably be gone, but are there offensive tackles later on in the draft? Because I don't think offensive tackles as strong as defensive end in this year's draft. What do you think?
I think a guy, Cornelius Squalls, will tell you, because I think he went and studied him after I talked about him enough times. He went and looked at the tape for himself. There's a guy by the name of Carter Warren from Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Guy I've never seen a college player be able to go from one side of the tackle to the other and do it mid-series while the series is going on. He can start first down and 10 on the left tackle and then do 3rd and 8 on the fucking right tackle and do them both effectively. How valuable is that? I mean, and it kept going. He kept doing it. It's not like it's a one-off. He did it consistently. That's more valuable than if you go and study the guy and look at that versus a whole bunch of other guys out there. That's pretty much more valuable than all of them. And I do love Paris Johnson. He perfectly fits the scheme. And I wouldn't be surprised if they took him first. But if you couldn't get him, that's a good fallback right there.
All right. Love it, man. Love it. Love it. People in the chat room don't like Yannick Ngakoue. Not good against the run, they say.
That's the word. That's the word against him. I didn't quite see it that way. He isn't a heavy edge setter. No, he's not a heavy guy, but he can stop the run. Is he more willing than other bigger defensive ends? No, but he will turn in some sacks if that's what you're looking for, some pressures and some hurries.
Always looking. We can always have more quarterback pressures, no man. I'm all for that.
But he's there for that. Now he's going to bring it. Now he's going to get around that edge and he's going to get there. He may not get the sack every time, and I think the sack is a very, very overrated thing because a lot of times you don't get the sack in this day and age, man. These guys are mobile. They move around. It's just, can you disrupt the play? Can you hurry up the pass?
Yes.
Can you rush it and make him do something he didn't want to do? I think that doesn't get enough credit. And so the sack is pretty much, I ain't going to say it's overrated, but the hurries and the pressures don't get
the hurries and the pressures. Yeah. You get the offense off the field with the hurries, the pressures, maybe get an interception out of it. But let's just say we still got one guy on the roster, Justin Jones. Could he possibly move out to one of the end spots on that defensive line for the Bears?
Highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think he's just a rotational guy within the inside. They may stick him out there if there's an injury or something, or they're running some kind of game or scheme. But no, I don't know.
I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, yeah, he's like more of a defensive tackle build, 6'3", I don't know, 300, 310 pounds, right? Something like that.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Other guys that got on the roster. What about any of these guys that are in there that we you got we still have guys like Angelo Blackson and Travis Gibson on the roster. And we can't forget about Dominique Robinson, right?
Well, I think Dominique Robinson was right there on the precipice of starting to turn that corner right. I mean, it seems like he was getting closer and closer to be able to bend the corner and make a play on the ball and get the hurry or even get the sack. I think his tools for a first-year defensive lineman were lacking. I think he had a speed rush or a quick inside move, and that was it. Neither one of them was effective. But don't count that guy out because you didn't see him turning sack now with this
Are
shit.
these guys gone already? Gibson and Blackson? They're not on the roster anymore because I still see him on the roster.
Is gone. I think Blackson
Is he?
if he's not gone, he's as
I'll
good
tell
as
you.
gone.
Can I just tell the little? I need
gotta
Bear.
get ready to get out of here, man.
Yeah, all right, my man. Yeah, we got to have the Bears update their website. That's for sure.
I gotta
all
get
right,
ready
no
to get
man.
out of here. I got a situation.
All right, brother. It's good talking to you. Looks like it's just me. So
keep the party going, man. Do the best you can, but I got a situation coming up in here.
all right, my man. It was good. It was just me and Nomad hanging out, guys.
And Mr. Shorty's there somewhere.
No, he's left.
Now I gotta take care of my old
All right,
lady
brother.
mom, man. I gotta get out of here.
Go ahead.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one, man. Love y'all in the chat, man. It was great.
Yep. Chat's been awesome tonight. Gibson's still under contract, according to Jimmy. Thank you. Doing good, Pook. All right. Let's before we wrap it up, any comments, chat room, throw out your best last minute I don't know what happened to Shorty. J-Rock. I don't know. He was having internet problems. It's just me. Closing out the show here soon. 11. Yeah, Shorty was here and he's gone. Foster. I got to mention open mic has been great seeing some of you guys, man. Really enjoyed. I gotta tell a chat to some of you guys got to step up, do the open mic, man. I'm getting the kick out of it when I'm at work listening to the podcast. And it's great, some great comments and content. And before I get out of PJ, it was great to see you on open mic. Love you, brother. And J2K too as well. Pook, where you go? You going to Miami? All right. Before we do get out of here, am I the only one that loves March Madness? Who's into watching the March Madness? Man, any picks for winning the national championship? Throw them out there. Anybody doing brackets at work? Me, I kind of like Alabama to win it all this season. I could be wrong, but yeah, I love open mic, PJ. A lot of fun watching you guys step up. Yep, Des Moines, James. Yep. Live and work in Des Moines. We got a couple games here in Des Moines. We got Kansas Jayhawks. We got the Texas Longhorns in town. Jesse James likes Purdue to win it all, man. I'll tell you, Zach Edey, what a player, man. You got a future NBA player on your college roster. You got a chance to go all the way, man. Love that kid. 7'4", 30 and 10 every night almost. 30 points, 10 rebounds almost every game. Gotta love it. Yep, love March Madness too, Foster. Had my if you were following me on Twitter, gave out a free play, Vanderbilt over Yale. Easy money. Ivy League can't keep up with the SEC basketball. Grinnell, all right, man, love it. The jewel of the West, and Shorty's back. Look at that. Yeah, we're talking a little Mark Madness. Working in Marshalltown, very cool. Got the Brownell Gun Factory out there too. So I'm gonna pass it on I-80.
I apologize, Tooch. I don't know what's going on with my internet.
Yeah, that's all right.
Killed me.
No man said you were beaten off somewhere.
I was. Didn't take long, so I'm back.
Well, good. I'm glad you're back because you helped me close out the show. You know,
we need
it's
to
back. Oh,
What you know? What? Can you pull up the Ryan Poles one, please?
is that this one?
Oh yeah. So let's put me in the center. How do we do that?
All right. Yeah.
Remove you. There you go. So let me just so
I love you, Mr. Poles.
I would like well, thank you very much. I appreciate you loving me, Toochie. What I want to ask you, Tooch, is am I doing a good job or am I doing a good job?
Look, man, like I said, Bears State of Affairs, man, it's like the best off season ever. It's like Christmas for me, man. Tremaine
Wow.
Edmonds? I love Tremaine Edmonds when he was coming out of Virginia Tech, man.
Why,
I
so
wanted the
did
Bears
I,
to draft
Toochie.
him. Yep.
I
They-
loved him coming out myself, Toochie. That's why I picked him up.
So for me, to me, Edmonds is going to be the middle linebacker, and you're going to put Edwards at the will linebacker, the tackling machine, get this defense, running the way it's supposed to be run. They put Walker at 3 tech, and then Sanborn's going to be like the Hunter Hillenmeyer strong side linebacker. And I tell you, man, our linebacker core is looking pretty good after this weekend, man.
You are
Love it.
damn straight. You are damn straight there, Toochie.
Yep.
I plan on putting Mr. Tremaine Edmonds at the middle linebacker position.
Yeah, I mean, he wore the green dot in Buffalo. He was getting the
will wear
calls.
the green dot here. You can trust me on that.
Yep.
I don't know why I sound like I'm Southern, but I'm just going to keep going with it. And then next, we're going to put TJ Edwards at that will spot. Mm-hmm.
Yep, the Lance Briggs
he's
spot.
Attack the ball there. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and what's his name's going to be at the Hunter Hillenmeyer spot, right? Wasn't Hunter Hillenmeyer played Sam?
Mm-hmm. Hunter Hillenmeyer did a damn good job at Sam, and we're going to put Mr. Sandball over there, and he's going to do a fine job himself. Mm-hmm.
Yep, we're getting a lot of fan calls. PJ was asking us a question. He asked me, but I'll ask Ryan Poles. Who are the Bears taking at number 9, or will you trade down Poles?
I'm going to keep that to my vest.
Close to the vest. Smart.
Close to my vest.
Smart guy.
Not gonna give away any secrets here. We don't want Detroit knowing what we're doing.
Clip.
This could be
James is absolutely right, man. You got Urlacher. Edmonds is going to be that Urlacher spot.
Yes,
right.
I do plan on putting Mr. Edmonds at the Urlacher spot there. That's what we're going to do here.
I don't know, man. I think Sanborn can cover the title. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. I think
we'll see. Sanborn showed he's got some wheels, man.
Mm-hmm. He's got some wheels. He knows how to tackle. Well, I got to get my head in here a bit. There we go.
Yeah,
he knows how to tackle. Should we put the mouth on the side? He knows how to tackle.
Yeah,
viewers by the second.
JTK said we got a lot more holes to fill. I know. It's every year. Every year we got holes.
Wait, Foster Cover says like I sound like I'm in a Civil War movie. Jesus, that doesn't sound good. Gone with the Tooch.
Right.
I do declare here. I do declare that we're building a team through the draft.
Right.
Through the draft.
So James Hunter says you're going to trade back to 21 and grab a couple extra second rounders. Maybe. I don't know, man. This guy's a trade fiend. J2K is a hater.
I plan on trading back from 9 to 12, and then from 12 to 16, and then from 16 to 21, and then from 21 to 27, and I'm going to end up with 37 picks in this draft. You watch me. You just watch me.
Right. St. Omni says we got to wrap it up with Poles. So we'll say goodnight to Mr. Poles. Can we get St. Omni on open mic?
We sure can. We can get anybody on open mic. Where's the banner for that?
I'd like to get. Do we have an open mic banner?
Yeah, it's over here somewhere.
Throw that thing up there, man. How about an open mic like trailer?
Oh, I do have an open mic trailer, actually.
Do we? Nice.
I have to. I can pull it up. It'll take me a second, but I have it. And let's wait. Maybe it's here.
There's a lot of stuff in here that I don't know what it is.
I can add an open mic trailer. It'll take like 3 seconds. Let's see.
How's that Chris Watts GoFundMe coming along?
Oh man, thank you for bringing that up. We have to get that going because the goal for the next open mic night is to have.
Is Chris going to drop by?
We're going to make it about Chris. Yeah, we're going to have Chris on the show. Tooch, if you want to come on the show, please come on the show. The whole goal of that show is to have people come in and out and kind of, preach their They're
What time? What time is it again? You should catch it the next day.
Well,
while
I
I'm
haven't
at work
figured that out
listening.
yet. I'm trying to work on that with the scheduling and
Like for me, I usually wait till the girls go to bed. My wife works nights.
yeah, I understand, but it was so it would be like what 10 o'clock.
How about
Your time?
Mr. Shorty? At number 9, what do you want the Bears to do?
Trying to find this. You maybe look for this thing. Hold on. I don't even that. That might
PJ,
be
you
it.
got to come back. I love PJ. How
Let's see if
about
this is
can
it.
we get Foster on? Let's get Foster on.
Foster's coming on next. Yes.
Okay,
Foster.
excellent. All
So
right.
lined up next is Foster and Swanky,
Oh yeah, Cliffy.
and we can get Cliff back on for sure.
Yeah,
But so we want to have the main goal for the next open mic is to have Chris on, Chris Watts. We're going to promote the GoFundMe for him, and then we're going to have as many other people that want to come on that like you, Tooch, or AC Aaron Current from the Barfly Tailgate Show, KB Ryan Billings from the Barfly Tailgate Show, people that know him, that just kind of come on and speak their piece for Chris Watts. And put the information out there. People can even, if they wanted to super chat that night, all the super chat would go to Chris Watts instead of them having to go to the GoFundMe and make it easier for them. So the goal is to get Chris Watts here for a game in Soldier Field, and it will be amazing. We'll arrange it for the Barfly
awesome.
Tailgate party and stuff. So
I
Chris
will
can be
drive
there.
out from Des Moines, drive into Chicago for
Absolutely.
Chris Watts party. Number 9, Shorty, what do you want to see at number 9? Trade back, offensive tackle, and cornerback.
Me personally, I want to see a trade back. I want to go from 9 to maybe 12 with the Texans. Maybe we can trade for Laramie Tunzel. Then go from
Well, I'll
there.
tell you, if you did that, you could probably still grab one of the offensive tackles that Nomad was talking about.
Paris Johnson on the right side, maybe.
Paris Johnson, that kid from Pittsburgh he was talking about. Guys like Skaronski are going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, for me, looking at the roster, man, there's defensive end, man. We ain't got nothing. We don't have nothing, man.
No.
We got Dominique Robinson. That's about it.
So if Tyree Wilson is sitting there, you take him right at 9.
Yeah, I think so. Miles Murphy's another good one. Clemson, I think defensive end.
That high at 9 though. Miles Murphy.
Or if we'll trade back, you could probably still get him.
Yeah, but would you take Tyree Wilson at 9 if he's sitting there at 9? Do you?
I'd have to think because it depends on what cornerbacks are there. Because for me, cornerback is also a need.
Joey Porter Jr.
Joey Porter Jr., Christian Gonzalez, and Devon Weatherspoon. I'm happy with any of those guys.
So only Porter Jr. is left. And Tyree Wilson, who do you take?
I'd probably go and edge rusher at that point. Yeah. There you go.
That's my initial thought too.
I wish I've been thinking about this all show, PJ. I was like, how can we get Chase Young? How do we get that guy?
How can they pay Chase Young with the contract they just gave to Deron Payne?
Yeah.
But so what was my question? So
Tyree Wilson, worthy of the number 9 pick. Do I think he is?
No, listen, wait. What I was saying was the cornerbacks are going to be gone after that, right? There's not going to be many left. So you can probably get another quality defensive end in the second round
later. That's why that's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
If you
take Joey Porter there, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with them taking a cornerback. I'm not going to be upset because we got Jalen Johnson, but how his contract's up in a year or two, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think this is the last year of his contract. Yeah.
You got Kyler Gordon and what's the other kid? Jalen Jones. He's also another Jalen, right?
Yeah, a rookie last year.
Rookie last year. Yep.
Played well,
Yeah.
but you could rely on that going into this season.
There's not much. There's not much. We don't have a lot.
Right.
We got Jalen Jones. Yeah, who's a rookie out of Mississippi last. We got Kyler Gordon. We got Jalen Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Jones. I don't know why.
There's that. What we have? What's his name?
Why isn't Jalen Johnson?
Kendall Vildor.
Jalen Johnson isn't on the Bears website on the roster. It's like he's only our best. No. I see Jalen Jones. There's no Jalen Johnson though.
Well, wasn't he like an undrafted rookie?
Jalen Jones is on there, but not Jalen Johnson.
Oh,
it's like
okay.
He's the best cornerback we have. Why is he not on the freaking roster?
That's very strange.
Their website sucks.
No shit. I tried to use it one time for a show, and it was totally wrong. I was like, "This is a Bears website." J2K says Blackwell.
Cliff's got it right.
Yeah.
Bears website is run by children.
Yeah, it is run by children.
Yeah.
There's a guy, you know, you've probably seen him before in chat, Glob Dabalina. You guys recognize that name from chat before?
No.
Glob Dabalina.
No.
He does these amazing graphics on Twitter, and he posts them all the time. And he said, today is day 7, been trying to get a job with the Bears in their media department. I'm like, I'm pushing for the guy to get a job because his Twitter shit is amazing. The graphics and stuff that he makes. If he could work for the Bears, he would help them.
They need all the help they can get. Look at Foster says he keeps doing mock drafts, and at number 9, Weatherspoon is always there.
Shorty's weed is J-Rock.
Did you have what's your what was your weed today?
I'm going to tell you. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
We're in the overtime part of the show. Can I explain this to you? I went to a festival here. I don't live in Florida. I live in Georgia. We have an inherited home, and we went to a seafood and art festival somewhere in St. Petersburg. It was sponsored by this weed company, which I was just immediately like, whatever. It's called Exude. I shouldn't say it because we're not doing commercials, but they had a booth there. They sponsored this thing, and they had a tent, and they were selling these pre-rolls and actual buds. And they pitched me this thing, and I was like, "There's no way this is going to work."
Is it legal in Georgia?
No, but I'm in Florida. It's not legal here either. So it's only medically legal in both states, but Georgia you can't get it because they don't even allow you to grow it. Well, until recently, but only 2 places can. But Florida is medical, but it's not like Illinois or Colorado where you can just find a dispensary anywhere on the corner to go for a medical card.
Yeah.
You know. So you wouldn't even know it's legal here in Florida. But we went to this festival and on the beach, and they had this tent where they were selling pre-rolls and actual buds of hemp. And he explained it to me, but I wasn't listening to him because I was just thinking, you're full of shit. You know, this is not going to work. So we bought 2 pre-rolls, joints, and an eighth. And we smoked this. People were walking around everywhere, around cops and everything, just smoking these pre-rolls because it's fully legal. So the point is, it got us so high I couldn't drive for like 2 hours. We stayed there for like 3 more hours and enjoyed the festival before I could even enjoy, to drive home. So my point is, they're trying. What they've done is actually created a legal hemp-derived product that gets you just as high as the actual product. And what they do is they grow it with as much THC as they want. So they can make it 35% THC. And then they use a process, they add hydrogen to it. And the hydrogen freezes the molecules of the THC until they make it 0.3% THC, which is the standard for hemp. and then they can sell it legally. But once you actually smoke it, the decarboxylation process of it burning actually turns it back into, I think, some kind of form of THC, and it does the same effect. It is the exact same thing. So that's what I've been smoking, was legal hemp weed that gets you just as high as anything else I've ever smoked in my life. 100,000 fucking % long. And you're right, Cliff. Let's see how long it stays legal. But it might also be their version of trying to combat the actual weed form of it, so they can go, oh, look, because if you look it up, it's called HHC, hydro something something. They turn the THC into HHC, which is hydrocarbonated somehow. And that's what, but they can't sell it in that, because in order for you to buy it in form that you can eat it, you have to decarboxylate it. So decarboxylating it is when you smoke it, the burning of it decarboxylates it. But if you want to put it in the oven for 2 hours at 150 degrees, it'll also decarboxylate it, so then you can just eat it and it'll do the same effect. And that's how they make edibles. But they can't use the HHC version of it to make edibles, because it still turns back into the same form of THC once it's decarboxylated. So they have to use, so DH or Delta 9 is the current form. Jesus Christ, I'm pontificating again. Delta 9 is the actual form of THC. The government made Delta 8, which is a pharmaceutical version, which is legal. It's produced by the pharmaceutical division that makes it. So once you decarboxylate HHC, you can no longer use it to sell in an edible. So they use Delta 8, which is pharmaceutical, and that's what they put in the edibles. And that is supposed to do the same effect. I have not tried it, but it's supposed to do the same effect. But somehow they have made, the fucking engineering of this country has turned a hemp bud into an actual bud, and then turned the THC into HHC that they can fucking ship to you in Iowa from here in Florida.
Nice. Welcome to Weed Talk on Byram Network.
Fucking UPS shipped this to me. UPS shipped it to me.
Nice.
So
very nice.
Crazy. Thank you, Jim.
All right. So who does Shorty want before we get out of here? Because I'm getting tired. I'm old, man. Who does Shorty want at number 9?
Number 9.
Yeah. Would you be mad if they took a quarterback?
If I could not trade, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If they took a cornerback, no, I wouldn't be mad.
Okay.
Nor I wouldn't be mad with an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, or a cornerback. I would love JSN, but not at 9.
Yeah, we don't really need him anymore. Now we got DJ Moore. You know,
wide
receiver core, our top 3 wide receivers are not bad, man.
No, they're not. But
yeah, this is why I like Adam Thielen as your number 4, man. I'm still going to come back to that. I'll take that dude at number 4.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's a great insurance policy to Mooney. What if Mooney can't come back from that foot injury the same that he was? The foot injury is a big deal. Or a leg injury like that. He might not be the same guy. So JSN's route running ability coming out of college is probably the best I've ever seen coming out of college. Maybe next to Marvin Harrison Jr. next year.
Yeah, love Marvin Harrison Jr., man.
But we have a chance at him now, right?
I'll tell you, if Marvin Harrison Jr. was coming out this year instead of next year, maybe the Bears don't do that trade with Carolina for DJ Moore.
I agree. But because you can't go back too far. He's gone.
Right.
Right.
All right, Shorty. Well, let's say we wrap it up.
I say we wrap this up. It's been a great show, man.
It was fun.
Tooch,
I mean,
talking with you, my friend.
What do you call Bear State of Affairs? Just writes itself after a week like this, man.
It does, man.
So much.
Dude, you nailed it. You nailed it. I missed the first half. You started it without me, damn me, but okay.
I know, because Nomad was like, let's roll this motherfucker. But yeah. All right, we got to find that. What is it? The closing part, right? The closing video.
Oh yeah, we have to find that closing part.
I see the credits.
Guys, you guys in chat are awesome. We love you guys.
Yeah, Great job in the chat room today.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
putting up
much.
with us.
Without you guys, this show does not exist. Thank you. Hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Set your notifications. Tell your friends. The bar room is blowing up. We love
What
you
he
guys.
said.
What I said. You got this shit ready to roll, Tooch?
Which one is it?
Don't get it. Jeez Louise.
Is it called credits or barroom closing
I've got
logo?
it.
I don't know.
Got it.
Which one is it?
I've got it. Oh, no, you're right. What is it?
Is
No,
it credits?
I got it.
It's
I got
credits,
it.
right?
I got it. Guys,
Okay.
we love you guys. We will see you next week on Bare Their Souls. Tucci, say goodnight. I'm going to go out with a 1, 2, 3. Bears.
Thank you.